What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We're back with another installation of the Siege Double Shot. And this time we're coming at you Glisten style. Run, it's the grand finals, baby. Oh, you're muted, Run. Yeah, looks like you. Okay, so yeah, what he was saying right there is Whiskey Glitter is the best, and I'm so happy that he's here, and his beard is so luxurious. That's all the things that he was saying right there, chat. So
That
you didn't miss
was
anything.
100% of what I was saying. Guaranteed. That was everything I was saying there. It was good stuff. I mean, here we are. All right, let me recap for you real quick. We said Glisten Premier League. The last time we saw this was the quarterfinal, my friend, back in February, and now we are here for the grand final. Best of 3 instead of a best of 5. So I'll go ahead and bring up the bracket real quick. Take us a look where we got to.
That's right. It was a fun bracket. We were involved on social media, having a blast trying to guess who was going to make it all the way. And there was some good fights in there, a couple of slams, and of course the unfortunate forfeit there at the end. That did, of course, let F5 get into the grand finals. This has been a fun bracket. This has been a fun league.
Yeah, and we almost got to see this the NXG versus NXG, but didn't happen. Both of them came in the upper bracket on the quarterfinals. They didn't have to play their round win through, and both of them continued to win out. So they've both lost maps, though no one is completely undefeated. So that gives both teams a little bit of a shot. Now, as we're coming into this, my friend, oh, it's funny, we still got one question mark on the F5 side, but NXG locked in. Hectic, Palpatine. We have seen these guys play in a variety of leagues all the way through Challenger Series too, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Oh, yeah, and these are teams that you know and love. But we featured a lot on the Siege Double Shot, and a couple folks that have been teammates previously before, quotes, and Palpatine had teamed up, I believe, on the Red Stack is what Grim was telling me earlier. So
That's
a little
right.
bit of a friendly rivalry going on here as well.
Now, the big question was map bans, where is it going to go? And you know what? I am super happy. Chalet, Nighthaven as the first two. The unfortunate part after that, Fortress and Lair made it all the way to the end, but we're going to close it out on the great decider, my friend, Clubhouse.
Man, yeah, I'm happy about this one, Run. Chalet has been a bit of a roller coaster as far as if it's getting played or not, as it kind of moved in and out of the meta, but in its current state is a very fun map to watch, and we've been getting quite a few of that lately.
Yeah, Chalet has been where a lot of the action is happening, and you know what, my friend? Let's just get into it. It is grand final time.
Okay, Chalet. I'm excited for this one. We've been seeing a lot of the attacker-sided meta on this one, a lot of the first floor play, and I assume that it's going to be no different. But the big story definitely gets told out is how are you doing your bans? What's the micro game of the first bans coming out?
Now, you said it, the bans. We are on Chalet, and a little bit of a special treat along with deciding who's going to be banned out is I'm going to bring in a special extra caster along for the ride, my friend. Zach, appreciate you filling in, helping me out tonight, brother.
Hello, I am Zach Vexel. Nice to meet you. Nice to bring it on in here. I'm super excited to get in with the Glisten Premier League's grand finals. And I mean, we started off way back earlier on in the season, had the liberty of casting a couple of their games. Now, I didn't get to see NXG and F5 on my stream, get to showcase them, but I'm really excited to see them finally here in the grand finals to find out who's walking away with the inaugural Glisten Premier League champion title, who's going to be taking it. And right here on Chalet, I don't think there's a better map to do it, a map that kind of feels like it shifted very well into that offensive attacker sided meta very nicely. I mean, with that first floor play, which we do see happening right on over here, as kitchen dining is going to be the first site we get to play.
I love it, and I know that you're seeing this on board right now, right? The Denari here, featuring those devastating trip connectors. Vertical is going to be the name of the game. If you got to get through some of that extension util first to do it, yeah, absolutely. We're talking bans here, Zach. They banned the Azami and the Castle, both kind of the architects of how the site is set up and how you form your kind of your top floor play. So having to evolve that in a few other operators, and I think trip connectors are a part of that.
Yeah, the Denari paired with the Aruni is a devastating combination because you can kind of get rid of one, you can kind of get rid of the other, but when you pair these two together, not going to be too fun to try to get yourself through any window, any door, any wall, all things that you definitely have to worry about, and just making your way on into sight. It gets down to that last second. What happened to Vigil?
It was a good night, sleep tight. That's what happened.
Yeah, okay. Good night, sleep tight. All right, well, at least the smoke
needed a
is
little
still
bit of a
alive.
lullaby, and that was it. Good night. You're out of there. Take a little breather for round number 1. Yeah, I think try to get a little cheeky on the spawn peak, but Hectic was ready for it. Set up and found that first kill. And kind of want to highlight here, Zach, on the attacker side of things, something we have been seeing used a ton recently, and that is the glass, right? He's just taken on this very aggressive role where it's not just sit on a rappel and wait for it, and that's going to be Kins to find Fubus off the board, and that's going to be a double man advantage now in this first round. But it is an aggressive position now. It is getting in. It's sitting in the smoke on the site doors and helping the plants go down just really close and in your face. And I have loved this new iteration. He's on the board now and already looking to get his first kill off piano window.
What's going to be really brutal, too, is the removal of the Warden. With those smokes getting played on down, the Warden was going to be the best counter opportunity for this Glass, being able to use his glasses to look through that smoke. Not going to be available to F5. Now they have to counter a DMR from the Glass, a DMR from the Twitch, and, well, it ain't working out too well. Needless to say, first he ends up getting one on the Rin. It's a 2 versus 4 if Palpatine gets picked back up, 2 versus 5, but the plant's going down, Glitter. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it's a good night sleep tight. It was a beautiful hold that they just had across that vert, right? It was kind of the only opportunity to stop the plant from going down was to claim some of that vertical power in that 2v or in that versus 1 or versus 2 scenario, but they did. They had the cross set up. It was an easy peasy, and they're going to go on to the next first floor site.
Yeah, very hard to sit there and get any sort of headway on in. NXG lockdown round number 1, F5. Like, okay, you know what? That didn't work. We're going to switch over to bar gaming. We're going to try some things over there and maybe get a good idea. Some of these teams kind of have their site rotation on down, and maybe you don't want to go back to kitchen dining. Maybe you just want to get things down and try to find where the opening is and then double down, triple down, and really execute the rest of this first half in that avenue. So going over here, what's going to be the difference maker? What are we going to be seeing? The Mira on board, on table, picked up by F5. A little bit less than the DMR avenue for them. They don't have those trip connectors with the Aruni, with the Denari over here, but they are bringing the Thorn plus the Mirror. And I do love this combination because you got the Mirror as a heavy anchor, and then you got the Thorn as this heavy trap operator who has seen her rise in the meta so nicely against those shield ops.
Yeah, here's what's fun about it is like you have to ban a couple of operators to disrupt a strat, right? Something that you've seen on the VOD, something you know they're bringing, or the accepted defaults. So when you do get the Azami, the castle down, it leaves a couple of them up, and one of those points of contention, it is the Mira, my friend. So yeah, a little bit of that upstairs hold here as they're making the claim onto verticality, and the Thorn has been a blast with its rework. Very quick, gets active, and look at this, they're going to go for another spawn peak. Fubus this time, potentially sending one out. Now, I love the intel being used here. On the other side of it, though, Zach, we got the Twitch. They're coming in to try to make quick work of these mirror gadgets, and it's at least going to start with some util.
Yeah, if you can get rid of those black mirrors, or if you can just get rid of Mirror herself, Palpatine does get dropped, but Kinzo ends up getting one on a Shield Walker, and look at that, getting refragged by Kiwi. Chubby finds one on a Vertzi as well. So far, looking a lot better for F5, and they still have a couple of those smoke canisters in pocket to be able to slow down that offensive push, and I guess they're feeling pretty slowed already.
Yeah, huge answer back, though, right? When you're looking to equalize onto the scoreline, F5 did exactly that. Hold the angle, know those critical push points, and then just stand fast. That's exactly what happened here. So now into a 4v2, so much time left on the board. All they got to do is sit back and play onto the trade game here.
2-man advantage right now for F5, and still halfway through the round, and gonna pop that one right on open. You're not gonna be able to defend against the... Oh, he's got the guy over in top blue who just cleared off that ace charge. Yeah, you probably want to go ahead and make sure you get a good clear out. He's just gonna be sitting outside that library window. Okay.
Yeah,
nice,
kind of
slow
just
and steady. What do you do though? What do you do when everything's locked on down and they have man advantage?
they've got a pinch move here, right? Yeah, the thing is you have to take care of that 45 first, because the second you get in, it's pressure from below or it's pressure from that main stair. Does get taken off. It's all going to be up to Slasher now in this 1v4. Minute and 13 left, and he's going to get maybe a little bit active towards the other side of it. Yeah, try to catch somebody off guard. Now they're going to hear a window break, which means his location is going to be given away, that he's at least coming towards that 45 area. This is where Solus was sitting. She's rotated into the game room. Everybody kind of just on a hurry up and wait scenario. 53, Zach, they're counting it down. It's a swing from 45.
A little bit of a swing, but now they know exactly where he is. Slasher gets one out of Phubis, but Kiwi closes that one on and down. It's going to be a round over to the defense this time at 5. They're going to tie this one right on up, right off the rip. And I said a little bit earlier before when the end ended up happening, it was, what do you do in this scenario? You got that two-man advantage. The defense, I should say, has that two-man advantage, and the offense. I think whatever you do need to do, it needs to be together. It needs to be concise. You need that refrag potential so that you can get that bounce on back and move as a unit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of one of the things that they did in that unit moving scenario is like the defense was transforming anticipation into domination, right? They had a read on kind of how that was coming together, and it was a quick peek, and then everybody played the trade game. When the dust settled, F5 came on top on that one.
Yeah, phenomenal adaptations by F5. Now going upstairs, like I was saying a little bit before that last round, is some teams just kind of have their site rotation in mind. We're going to figure out where the holes are. We're going to bring things that work too well. We're going to try to mesh in some of what our strategy on that initial round was, and take a look at what we see right here. We see a good the adaptations with the mesh coming on in here. The Mirror of Thorn being brought back in here as we head up to the second floor, but the Aruni making her way back into this team comp. Let's try some of these laser gates. Let's try some of this funnel tactic that she provides. I do love this though, and it's going to be the Valkyrie brought onto the table. It's that information game that's been so critical lately, and I guess long term.
Yeah, we'll go forward, right? Siege is a game of intel and opportunities, and the best way to create those, get a couple of cams out, my friend, and they went double duty. You talk about those BPs being placed out as well. There's multiple avenues where they're going to have themselves a bit to work off this C4, and they did double up on it. Now, Solar Tank has become part of the kind of accepted meta. You have to take some of this space if you're going to lean into that split theory approach that so many teams are doing in the Pro League circuit right now. So a little bit of attention towards the windows, and they start making some movement on the other side. See if they can get that pincher move going.
Good lockdown over on that lobby, Mez and library area from the Thorn and a Rudy. They're going to chill over there and get a nice little site extension going. Thorn ended up backing on up. A Kiwi still challenging those angles, still trying to sit there and see if he can lock anybody on down. Yeah, go a little bit of last minute setup. No problem. Just make sure that our piano doesn't get flushed on out. You got that deployable shield there, being such a dominant position for a good anchor spot. And that is the unfortunate part, is these Twitch drones are menacing to any sort of deployable gadget, whether it be the Thorns, whether it be those Mira windows, whether it even be the Jaegers, which you're utilizing very well to make sure that this guy does not get flushed out of piano.
First kill is going to go out. Kiwi's going to take the kill onto Kinzo. Is going to give that man advantage now over to F5 as they're looking to kind of trade on or get back into that trade game with just over a minute and 30 left. A little bit of damage done onto the defensive side, but for the most part, they're feeling pretty solid. Knows they've got a little bit of action inside of the dining room, or at least had some intel that somebody was potentially down there. This is a miss, though, if they don't push this. They had the isolation, and unfortunate, there's going to be a C4 on board. Now, there is a quick trade back. Chubby Seal gets taken down as the Glass is yet again fruitful in his kills. Minute 11 now, Zach, as they're going to start making that march forward.
Yeah, swinging a Glass. He's got the smoke available to him. You don't know exactly where he is. You know, he's kind of over there, but there's already a DMR waiting for you. Speaking of waiting for you, bullets into Phubis' head. Palpatine said, do it. Locked him on down. 50 seconds remaining here on the clock. It's a time crunch, baby, but NXG, they have the man advantage. They have the HP advantage. They're moving their way on forward. Diffuser in hand on Slasher.
Still a chance to hold out here. A good pick or two could solidify things here for the defense, and it's going to start with a run out, but punished for his hubris. Hectic's able to take Kiwi off the board, and that's a man advantage by 2. Now into the hands of NXG. Some flashes ring out as they start to put that pressure towards Piano. Hectic to find a second as Rin goes down to Palpatine to clean it up.
On the plus side, the guy in Piano didn't get flushed out. He was still holding on right there all the way until the end. No, very well done by NXG. Again, another adaptations moved in quick. I liked the aggressive play from the Aruni to go for that run out, try to catch somebody by surprise, but I mean, they're ready. They have guns up, they're holding your angle, they're making sure that they're not slipping any one bit either way. Now moving on into the second set of bans. Are we surprised?
No.
At all?
Not even a little bit. Yeah, no. I mean, absolutely. This was the step for both teams, right? Mira always going to be a thorn in the side. Now, when it gets banned, whether you use it or not, give or take, right? Some teams just don't have Mira quite worked into the strat for the reason that she gets banned out on those critical push point areas, but the glass ban for sure. And once the Mira is utilized, absolutely. So yeah, W set of bans. Not sure who won it on this one.
Now heading back on down to that first floor, we're going over to that first site, kitchen dining. It just seems like F5, they have that site rotation, maybe picked up a little bit of the ideas, what they needed to do over on that bar gaming, saw what happened on that upstairs, what NXG did to adapt, and now they need to bring in some adaptations themselves. That Denari gonna make his way back on into the lineup. These are a couple different operators, though, when I look at the Tuberel, the Fenrir, the Kaid, all getting brought on in here, so they want to deny the wall very heavily. So bring in another one of those DMR players, and then Nitro cells across the board for the Denari, for the Tuberel and the Kaid, and then if anybody comes in for that execute, those Nats on Fenrir, super critical. We saw that huge during the 30-second meta, 20-second meta, end of the round meta that all last year and a half was. If you try to rush into the site with those F-Nats still up, you rush in, you're blinded, you can't see anything, bullets are flying past you, you're swinging for the F-Net, you're swinging for the people shooting at you. It's a really uncomfortable position for anybody making an attempt to execute.
Especially once you start dealing with those with the debuff of the trip connectors as well, right? So all of a sudden you can't see, all of a sudden you can't move, something slows you down, it's a Zoto canister. I mean, this is a pace-setting defense here as they look to try to equalize onto their scoreline. And, you know, the problem with banning Glaz here, which is a good ban, it's a great ban, you need it. It's still the Twitch, you know? She's still going to be out there just being a menace, getting rid of this extension util, stopping those things like the FNATs and the trip connectors from even being a factor. So a little time onto the Twitch drone, a little sniper work with that laser, and then all of a sudden you do get a chance to walk on into sight.
Yeah, just brutal. Let me just cart my way around, play a little bit of Mario Kart, and go, okay, there's a trip connector there, there's an FNAT there, there's a Kite Claw there. All right, cool. Now that that's all taken care of, let's just walk on into sight nice and easy. Don't be too nice and easy. I mean, there's still the slowdown potential from the Zoto canisters. There's still the smoke canisters as well, so you can get slowed into the smoke, a little bit of that area denial. And I know I hate being slowed in really any game, so Malusi and Tuberau, very critical for me. Fubus is going to slow down the offense by getting Hectic off the board. Man advantage over the defense always means now Clock is your fifth man, but look at that, even right back on. Outvertsy gets the trade right back.
Yeah, Vertsy was the one that was playing onto that glass, and they're going to take a swing with the Deimos onto Piano. Shield's going to take Slasher off the board. A fitting name for a battle there. Now does give that man advantage by one, but a quick swing's going to answer, and then one back from the hall. Kenzo going to be good for 2 as the double rings out. Numbers get equalized. Still a ton of time left on the board, and unfortunate, there is a C4 and 2 smoke canisters ready to play.
Yeah, look at this, 3 tracks coming in from the Deimos. He knows your exact position, sees where you're rotating around, and granted, you know his exact position. Nice little BP right there inside of the bookshelf. Gonna be able to track them and go, all right, well, they're pushing from Piano. Now what? Now what is your answer? It's gonna have to be the communication between Kinzo and Palpatine right here. I love these information operators because high-level players, they have the gun skill to be able to compete, but they also have the communication in the comms. I have the information, means everybody on my team has the information. Spread that around, let them know where they're at, and utilize your team's guns, force them into your crossfire, lock them down, win the round.
All right, now down to the frag zone is a 2v2. Diffuser is in hand, but it's going to put all of the work onto finding that first kill, right? Almost essential. And unfortunately for NXG, it goes in the way of F5. F5. They might be able to get him up here, but it's a dangerous position right over the hatch to get it done. They do. 8 seconds left. It's going to have to be a drop and plant, but the smoke canisters are still in place. They get through. Flash just start to go out. They make it into the B side. A plant is starting to go down. They take the 50. He's just got a hole looking for that hatch. He gets him off, and that's a quick double, or it's a quick single each as they take both of them down. Good push by the defense to reclaim here.
I was like, there's no way he doesn't see him on the other side of this half wall, right? Surely he ends up. I'm surprised they even made it that far. First off, smoke on the ground right under the hatch. Very difficult to even think about pushing on through. They drop down. They get some first floor coverage. Try to get that diffuser on down. I'm going to come up a little bit short, but that is that equalizer, like you mentioned, bringing this one right back to neutral. Neither team wanting to give an inch, and this says we might just go the distance. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens when we do switch sides at the half. Is Chalet more defensive-sided? Is it more offensive-sided? How is the meta shifting? How is Chalet adapting for defenders? All questions that are getting asked, and hopefully we'll be seeing getting answered right here. Going to switch over from Kitchen back over to Bar Gaming. Now, last time F5, they won on this site. They also lost on Kitchen, but now they won over there. So is advantage starting to swing in their favor? Are they getting a good idea of what NXG is bringing to the table today?
Yeah, starting to discover some of the tendencies, right? And you got to be sure that there was some VOD review leading up to this one for sure, right? A little bit of how in the world are they playing these sort of things. Now, whether they got the Chalet or not, they're at least getting a look at it now. But defense right here has just been kind of doing a great job, even though it is a 2-2 score line, right? F5 has done a real good job at turning that defensive pressure into a huge advantage, forcing those late round push. So if you're wanting to see NXG sort of kind of take that next one, which history kind of has been showing that has been the case, yeah, I think it's going to be pace setters need to be had by NXG, and bringing along the Monty to do that feels like a real fun way to do it.
I was going to highlight that. I was also going to highlight, too, Hectic trying to play another operator, and his team is sitting there like, nah, dude, get back to it. You know what you got to do. Pick up the Twitch. He's like, fine, I'll be in the Twitch gulag, going around, cleaning up the Utah. I guess I'll do it. I guess I'll be that guy. The Monty, though. I love Monty, man. It's the first shield that we're actually seeing all site map today. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. All map today. All finals today. There we are. Slasher with the Monty, the forward spearhead, and he's gone.
Well, there you go.
Anyways.
You know, sometimes it's just not meant to be. Sees him on the roof, almost gets away with him. Now the push from Deimos, though, is going to take a shot, and Holy Whiff City, that's a tough one. Gets away with a freebie there as they rotate back towards the library area. Man, tough one, right? You lose your spearhead right out the gate. Man advantage is into the hands of the defense, and now by 2, and a low health situation for Vertzy. F5 looking to try to take the scoreline advantage for the first time.
Not only did you lose your spearhead, someone who can force people out of some positions and also move your team forward, you also lost Palpatine, that Capital, who uses those flame bolts to try to force somebody out of a very nice position. Like whether you're thinking piano over there in the bathroom, whatever it may be, any sort of tight corridor, just get them out of that area. Those two gone, going to be very difficult for NXG to push on in. They do have 2 information operators still available to them in the Lion and the Deimos, but they are very heavily under fire. There goes the Twitch. Hectic gone. Chubby got picked back up. Now it's a 5 versus 1. Vertzy, the lone Lion, has one more call available to him, but can he face the entire world that is F5 esports right now, Glitter?
Oh man, every movement is calculated, every hold unbreakable, and this time F5, they get it done flawlessly, my friend. Just a beautiful hold, right? Great adaptation to what we saw in that first iteration of it. Even though it was a win, it's still looking miles better. So if we're talking standard splits, right? Man, F5 on their way to hitting that 4-2.
Real nice position. Well, they clearly made the adaptations over on Kitchen Dining. Looked good. Now, Bar Gaming, they obviously had that one down. I mean, we saw that back on round number 2. Looked good. Saw that now on round number 4. Looked good. Awesome. Cool. Good for you. Now, we're going up back to that second floor. They didn't win that one over on round number 3. What's going to be the case here on round number 6? Are they bringing in something a little bit different? Is it going to be the execution style? I do see one thing that is different. Mozzie coming on in here. Are we done with the Twitch drones?
Yeah, don't want to deal with those anymore. You're getting rid of all that extension util, and I think we're specifically talking those F-knots, right? Which is supposed to be one of that first big layer of defense, not just for if you can't see, you can't swing, but also because it's a sound cue, right? You get a little bit more of that information. So add some mobile cams to that count. Absolutely, they're still leaning in and looking for those opportunities.
Now, Hectic did swap off that Nomad to the Twitch. See if that one ends up sticking around, even with this Mozzie on board. I mean, it's going to be a factor, but you can play around it. You can see that indicator on your screen to know where those Mozzie drones are. He is holding on to a few of those, which I do like. Either hasn't gotten to the position where he wanted to set those up just yet, or was holding them so that the default drone round got out of the way, and now we can think about the Twitch drones. Either way, we'll be able to see what's going on right now as we get on into it. 3 Nitros on the board, along with 2 BPs for F5, though. This I love. Again, going back to that information plus Nitro game that they have here. And look at this. It's that Solarium take you were talking about. Look at those Jaegers just sitting on the staircase, not wanting any sort of throwable to get on in there and flush that guy off that staircase.
Yeah, that's going to be where that Twitch really does start to come into play. And IQ sussing out the information. They now know that they've got to focus. And I think you were exactly right? Mozzie holding on to some of those pests is definitely want to get those regular drones shot first, so you have the advantage to get some of those Twitches off the board, because Hectic has been an absolute sniper with that thing so far. So get a drone in, take a look, and then start to send in the cavalry.
Look at this already. Palpatine 2, he notices that they're out there. Now a slow, steady push on in through that first floor fireplace lobby. That's a mouthful. 2 minutes remaining here on the clock, and there goes the first one. It's Fupus to get dropped on down. There goes that Mozzie. So even if he does get those Twitch drones, not going to be able to pilot them.
Yeah, relegated to your own cams, unfortunately. Man advantage back into the hands of NXG as they look to tie some things up, and they've got themselves a little bit of momentum. 1:30, and start to flush some movement here, and that's exactly what it does. Zoto Canister going to do its best to hold it down, but not going to be able to hold it off forever. MP7, Vertzi, life, forfeit. There goes some of that late round util with the smokes and the fires when they start to go for that plant off of the hatch, or off of that main breach. But we've only got 1 Selma charge left and no can openers. So getting that thing open going to become a priority now.
Yeah,
oh, and they used it upstairs.
Oh, yeah, popped on open with that main wall, and now line of sight has been created on in. Kiwi doing his best to hold down on this half wall, just chilling by the desk. Knows he's got the door to worry about, knows he's got the main wall to worry about, has a Nitro prepped, ready to throw it, but they are very aware. I mean, you hear that sound cue, just back up. You know very well. Everyone knows very well. Oh. And, well, Hectic is going to get that one. So, not going to have to worry about that Nitro anymore. Still might have one. Shield Walker holding on to that. 30 seconds left. Hectic gets refragged by Chubby Seal.
Yeah, still holding on to the long angle here as they just got to try to keep him off. Ping goes out, looking towards the doorway. A quick swing. Price paid. Palpatine's able to find it. Now it's a pistol pop, but no body drop as Palpatine finds himself 2.
Palpatine risen from the grave and just knocking them on down left and right. And not going to be a 4-2 round. Seems like NXG still has that upstairs on lockdown. Switching sides 3-3 at the end of the first half. Was that a good defensive half, offensive half for, well, each respective team? You know, now that we get into the second set of bans?
Yeah, honestly, it feels like it. This is something that we're seeing more and more. It's the 3-3 split, meaning as we get to the higher echelon of the bracket, you know, the Glisten League bracket, you get to the better players, right? Those are the guys that are making all the wins. So a 3-3 doesn't feel quite off the mark here.
Ooh,
thank you, Spy.
I like this ban of the castle, okay? We do see with this first floor idea getting picked up, even though they're going up to the second floor as they're showing right now, the castle being utilized for that site extension, whether it be horizontal or vertical, to really flush members of the offense in certain directions or to prevent them from entering certain doorways and windows is very critical. So I like seeing that one get removed. The Blackbeard on the other side, though, getting taken off the board as well. And then the other 2 bans being the Ying, execute heavy operator, execute heavy meta. Yeah, kind of makes sense. And then the Azami pairs well with the castle. Honestly, kind of a 1-to-1 with the castle, except she can just decide to put barricades anywhere.
Interesting here. They went for the rotate on the left side. There's been some discussion in the Twitter sphere of which rotate is right. And maybe you guys can tell us in the chat. But when you're talking about the window hold into piano, right? The big window that can see all the way into piano, when you put it on the left-hand side of it where it faces the wall, or do you put it on the other side where they can't necessarily see in for there, but it damages your view of seeing that hookah balk as easily and firing from that cover. I don't know. It's kind of two minds. We're seeing both played out.
I used to always get told to put it behind the wall there, so that way you can't get shot from the doorway when trying to rotate around, and they also can't see clean across all the way into Solarium. That was kind of what I always got yelled at for when I first started playing.
That was the accepted meta, but it's changing right now that there's more repel action being played and more outside, more of that Palu play, if you will. And that one's for you, Spot. And then all of a sudden, you have to protect the long distance, and that piano area is such a critical hold that you can hold two separate angles from the window and from the big window if you put it there. So I don't know. We're seeing both sort of metas play out and be right. Which one's more effective? That's the big question.
I love seeing the Monty shuffle through a doorway. It's something about just seeing him just come AD right through a doorway like, hello. All right, Monty, and come on, can I talk about a Monty for 2 seconds today? No.
Negative, sir.
Okay, just checking. All right, cool.
Shield
Still
gone.
a double info operator on the table for F5. They got the Deimos and the Grim available to them to try to cut off some choke points and then identify anywhere on those locations the individuals. I'll have to do that. Gonna have to play a little bit of Hunter Killer to bring things back to even. They do just that as Kinzo gets knocked on off by Chubby Seal.
Yeah, great pick there to equalize back onto the number count. Now, Slasher under a little bit of pressure as those Grim Bees are pinging out his location and still have some of this first floor play. And there it is, onto the Legion. Takes a couple of swings. They do get it as the pinch is in place. Fubas takes Palpatine down. That is going to be a man advantage now over to F5. Minute and 16 as that Deimos ping starts to go off. A little bit of a danger down close, but he's able to escape with some safety. Shotgun in hand, Zach. Slasher's going to find one. Now off the window. This spot has become so important to hold. They finally overwhelmed that force on there, and they're able to claim a little bit of that real estate.
Slasher wasn't even shooting at him at first. He was shooting through the wall at whoever was over there, and then all of a sudden the Deimos comes right from underneath him, and he's like, yeah, super shorty, buddy. Knock you on down, why don't we? Gets that pick and gets the 1-for-1 trade instead of just getting knocked on down himself. So man advantage still over to the offense this time around. They were able to bring it back in their favor. No Nitro available to them. Denari plus the Warden, 35 seconds. Chubby Seal dropping some of those Grim Bees, seeing if they can identify any members of the defense. And that's going to be a little bit of an unfortunate catch right there. Still got to worry about those trip wires sitting right in your way. Diffuser in hand onto the Grim. 20 seconds now. Time ticking its way on down. Got to jump on over. Got to worry about those trip connectors. And it's unfortunate he can't get rid of them. Vertzy ends up getting Kiwi. Chubby's on the ground. Hectic's on the ground. It's a 1 versus 1. Ritten versus Vertzy. Sees him. Hello. Down you go. Vertzy gets it. And that's another defense round over to NXG for the first round of the second half.
Okay, man, it kind of came down to it. Time in the defensive favor, but still gunfights left to be a little bit scary. They didn't get rid of all that extension util that they absolutely wanted. And so unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you're talking about, defense does find that first one.
Yeah, first round.
Go ahead.
A little bit of a timeout here coming on through for NXG. Is this a power move right now? We win the round, and now we're just going to ice you a little bit and get you cold feet.
Looks like there might have been, I don't know. Yeah, definitely the timeout taken. And then, of course, it had the DC, but they make it back in time. You know what? It's good because there was a couple of things that they were having a little bit of trouble with. It did come down to a 2-2. And what they were thinking was probably going to be a little bit more run-of-the-mill take, right? So, yeah, take a timeout. Take a second to think about it. Maybe put a little bit of ice in the veins of F5 esports, and then come back with a plan. It's not always saying you're doing this wrong or you're doing this right. Sometimes it's just a second to breathe.
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of what you need a lot of the time. Sometimes you can just take that pause, you take that break, take that 60 seconds, and go, okay, don't say anything. Just let us collect ourselves real quick. We know what we need to do. Let's bounce back into it in the next round. We know exactly how we can just lock this one on down. A couple things that we're seeing so far. Maybe some things we can talk about over here. The bar gaming seeming to be the highlight for NXG that they want to go to next. highlighting this Aruni, never mind, highlighting the Mira, at least, you know, still on the table. Mira didn't get picked in the first round in the first half, got picked up after that, got banned away. Didn't get picked up in the first round of the second half. Now getting shown right now, obviously, things could still change. Will that change, though, now that we're going down to these first floor sites?
Potentially, right? If she's left
Potentially,
on
yes.
the board, when you get to that bar gaming area, it's just a standard, right? If she's available, you obviously should have a default that can, of course, work around her. Now, I'm not saying it's that everybody's going to do it, but it feels right when you're in that bar gaming area to have that extension to hold on to that upstairs as long as possible. In a one-way, that's going to go a long way towards it. The big fun one for me here, though, Zach, is point out a couple of things. I want to highlight that the Frost is on board. Obviously bringing that deployable shield that sits probably either at the top of blue or potentially on the top mez, you know, kind of can interchange where those sort of sit, and sometimes teams even bring two to cover both of those spots. But probably played on Chalet bar gaming as often as Mira is that Frost being pulled out here. Double duty to the intel as we bring the Solus and the Mozzie on board, but the highlight, Solus got a shotty in hand.
Solus got a shotty. What are you gonna do when he's being his own version of a frost mat? You know, not too fun. Look at this. We have the counter, the Twitch drones right off the rip. They're like, oh, they have Mira. Let's bring the Twitch. Oh, we know. Yeah, look at that. You can't go. Gandalf is standing there and he says, you shall not pass right now, peasant. Get out of here with those Twitch drones. I do love Mira too much. So Twitch is like the bane of my existence as a Mira player myself. I understand fully. And I love the teamwork coming in from NXG to sit there and get that lock on down. I do love that Mira 2, when we're talking about that bar stock closet connector area, I don't gotta play in the gaming area. I can play outside of it, have a Mira one-way window set up on there, and just lock down that entire room without even having to step a foot inside.
Love that they work in double duty with the drones, right? Get your Flores drones in there and kind of disrupt some of that util. And I think we're mostly talking frost mats, unless you can get the drone high enough to be a factor on the F-Knots. And let's just go down below. There's going to be the first.
Wow.
He's going to see two of them ring out as both Slasher and Kinzo get their life taken off. Now does have a retaliation. Grim is down. They're going to make a swing on the top of Fireplace, and that's going to get a little bit, well, I was going to say was going to get a little bit closer to equalizing up, but it's just falling apart here for NXG. Is all of a sudden it's going to leave Vertzy, the frag leader, at 8-4 alone in a 1v4. He's going to have half of his total kill count right now if he wants to keep this one alive.
Can I say that Chubby gets a double kill, gets dropped by Palpatine, gets a double kill, gets picked off by Phubis, gets a double kill off that. So double in the hypothetical. Vertzy ends up getting one, but it looks like it's going to be an attack around to close that one on out. F5 going to tie things right back up, but that was a very interesting turn of events right there in the center part of that round that I couldn't help but laugh at.
And that's the 3-2-1 bingo call, right? They thought they had all the boxes checked. So it's like, okay, now it's time to hit the bingo and just flood sight. And of course, when it did end, it was a 1v4. Scary situation to find yourself in, especially because it was the tie-up.
All tied up here. These teams, they're just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. A nice little seesaw right here. You know, who's going to be coming out on top? Who knows? You'll have to find out after round 15, I guess, at this rate. Over to Kitchen Dining, though, for the next one. And Slasher plus NXG and crew are saying, all right, you want to bring the full body shield? We can do it too. Clash makes her way into the lineup before the second set of bans. I do find this interesting because I see it often with teams. They don't bring out things like the Clash or any sort of, I don't want to say big picks like that, but maybe pivotal picks like that can really just change up the defensive strategy, offensive strategy in the rounds. I usually don't see those get picked up until after that second set of bans. That way they can't get banned away for the remainder of the half. So I find it interesting to see that Clash getting picked up right here, the round before that.
Yeah. Maybe it also could be in that phase of trying to bait you in to making you do it towards the clash, right? Which is of course part of that mini game. The big fun thing here, though, new operator on the board. Zek, we've got a solid snake out here, and if you haven't had much of a chance to play with him yet or find out what his stuff does, we're getting a close look right here. He's in the all clear. Brings up his gadget, lets you know if somebody's close. If you get the alert, you can use your gadget, and it will tell you which way they're facing. It's huge for intel. It's huge for that double push when you've got some teamwork going on. But we're going to talk about the first one. Hectic, he's going to get ripped off the board, and that's a man advantage over to F5.
Yeah, nice little easy one, and unfortunate timing right there for Kinzo. Tried to remove that solid snake before we could even get an opportunity of seeing what he could do. And now, Chubby, no way, you get ran out on by Palpatine. All right, well then, now the solid snake got removed. I just love caster cursing these players sometimes, man. It's wild.
That's right. If you have problems with him caster cursing your favorite player off the board, it's at Zek Vexel on Twitter. Go ahead and make your complaints right over there. Yeah. He's waiting for him. Equalized on the number count, Zach, as your curse went down. Palpatine to find a second as the SMG 12 rings out, and now they're going to kind of close some of this stuff back up, and you've still got your shield being put on, putting on a performance towards that piano hallway. Mati going to start to make their way up as they've claimed a lot of space now for the vertical. Air jab going to put some pressure onto the, perfect placement, though. Going to be right into the bathroom door area, and sheesh, scary.
Nitro right in his face. Good pick. There you go. Way to take that one on out. 3-3. It's all evened out. Slasher being the deployable shield, the mobile deployable shield in piano that we usually end up seeing, except gonna wander around, make sure that the Monty plus Nomad don't end up crossing that position. Palpatine lurking around behind, understands that there are members of F5 chilling over in that area. Challenging it. Kinzo gets knocked on down, takes a couple shots over here. They do get Shield Walker. Rin trades down Palpatine. So a nice little 1-for-1 there, making this a 2 versus 2. 40 seconds. Kinzo gets Rin. It's a 2 versus 1 against the Nomad Phubis. Can you make it happen?
A quick swing. Drama is all that's left in this last 34 seconds, and Siege can definitely be a horror game. As the air jabs go off, they're going to get a little bit farther back, but now location going to be spotted out. He's going to go down for the, no way he gets past it. He's going for the rotate, does find it on camera, but a quick swing. Slasher's there to answer back, takes the head off of Phubis, and that was almost a beautiful clutch.
Almost too close for, actually no, it was too close for comfort right there. Swings over and downs the ward and goes back for the clash, but good reaction coming on through. Now the second set of bans making their way on in. NXG have taken the lead once more. So again, we're doing that little bit of back and forth. That was the breakaway point. So we'll see if F5 has a response here. It's going to be what's up with this ban as we see coming on through. It is going to be the clash. So was it a bait or was it strategy?
We're gonna have to find that out. We're gonna have to ask him. It's Spy62. Afterwards, will you please find out, was the clash play a bait for the ban, or was it just a late round strat? We gotta know. Inquiring minds gotta know. Either way, Twitch goes down as well, which means we're gonna have some gadgets on board. They're gonna last a little bit longer, unless we're bringing somebody in with Kludge drones or a potential Roteros. Otherwise, we're doing it the old-fashioned way, a little gun action.
Something I do see too that is going to be available to NXG is that Mirag is going to be still on the table. Cheating get banned away. Maybe that was the strategy. We can just throw the hypothetical out there right now. Ooh, here, look, flashy clash. She's in your face. You can't do anything about her. Oh no. And now Mira's still available to us. Okay, but you guys didn't notice her because she wasn't in the last round, so boo. You know? Suck it.
yeah. Mind games, mini games. Exactly. It's going on all the time. Min talked about it on the stream a couple of times is playing the first quarter strat to win the fourth quarter strat, right? And I love that play, and you can see teams doing it a bunch now. So now they got a myriad of operators still on the board, and we're bringing back the trip connector, Zach.
Bringing it back. I love this Denari pickup. I love seeing him get brought on in. They have the deployable shield. Still got to get put down. See if that one goes over that blue area, the piano area. Usually the two of the prime positions. We see that deployable shield. Maybe he's going to surprise me and put it somewhere I'm not ready for. That's always a potential right here. Half of 30 seconds now into the round, and Nice steady pace. It just seems like right now F5 is trying to identify where the members of the defense are, see if they can get any picks. They have this double information team comp with the Grim plus the Deimos. Again, the choke point, individual picks. See if we can pick somebody off, move forward with the Monty, gain some position here on the field. No clash to really be the deterrent anymore. Maybe that might help you actually get good control over half this map.
All right, going for some box checking here as they're getting the key players in place, hoping to catch and isolate, rotate, and almost gets rewarded with one as they double up on blue now, really trying to hold on, and there's the first kill. It's going to be Grim taken off the board, as now it's into a 5v4. Answer back immediately, Slashers, there's the Monty's making his way up, a double back, is going to find a pistol pop. That's going to find one as Palpatine also answered back. So Zach, minute 40, so much time left on the board, but now left in an equalized 3v3.
Yeah, an aggressive cluster right there in the first half of this round, but it does equalize out into that 3v3. Well, instead, he's going to win the race. You're going to start to see things maybe slow on down right now, or does F5 start turning up the heat and understand that they can get aggressive? That's where they put the deployable shield. Okay, I like it. I like it. Monty's sitting outside the admin, sitting over on that master bedroom wall, on that mez wall. Just trying to pop this one on open. They have the ace available to them to open that one on up. As they do see, they do have the hole available. Gonna give them a little bit of vision. Slow and steady. 60 seconds left here on the clock. Diffuser in hand of a shield walker, but nobody really wanting to budge right now, Glisten.
Yeah, just got to hold on, right? Hopefully looking to claim your first kill, draw out maybe a little bit of that, or draw that C4 out as they make their way in with the smokes there, and they're going to get the kill onto Hetic, so now the C4 is gone. It's a 2v2 as the trade happens. Verzi able to take Monty down as well, so now into a critical position. 34 seconds. They've got a little bit of intel, but it is just hurry up and wait. A quick swing, answered. Fubas finds one. Palpatine answers back now into a 1v1. All going to come down to this last 24 seconds, and who can rotate better? Made their way inside. Has a little bit of intel that is probably coming for the siege. Timing, though, might cost him his life. Does get back into it. A quick shot towards it. Now it's Ring Around the Rosie, but like the deadliest version you've ever seen. 9 seconds, has to have it with a pistol pop. Legion gets out of the way again. It's a horror show, but Palpatine finds Rid's head, and they find the round.
That is insane. Not only are we going round for round, we're going kill for kill right here. NXG finally getting that breakaway, putting themselves on match point, but man, that Ring Around the Rosie is just... Hey, you give me some Benny Hill music for that. We'll throw up a clip on that later. That is just hilarious. Or maybe some Tom and Jerry. I don't know. You know, wherever we see those kind of clips end up happening. What needs to be the answer from F5 here? Going downstairs to the bar gaming site. So, first floor site, library control going to be nice and critical. The mirrors on the board, but isn't getting picked up here. Is this going to create an opening? Do we need that anchor available to NXG? I mean, they have a little bit on that aggressive side with this team comp, but I really mainly just say that because I see Vigil, and we've seen what happened with Vigil a little bit earlier. That's really all. To start us off here on map number 1.
Yeah, what's the answer? What's the win con? Well, I think it's going to have to start in taking Palpatine and Verzi off the board, right? They've been that sort of dominant stay force. They've got the clutch potential. Early man advantage. Find and isolate that lone player. Specifically talking about, probably going to be a Palpatine roaming around on that Vigil. We find that first kill, and that's going to be the absolute step 1. Continue that forward. You can play on to the trade game. It's a perfect 4-2 scenario now for F5 as they're trying to claw their way back to within striking distance of overtime.
Yeah, seeing the Vigil right here, just to highlight it once more, it kind of gives me that feeling of, we want to kind of put you down right here. You know, this is map number 1. Hold it with the boss G. Look for the spawn kill. If he can get this pick right here, not only is it going to be a pressure pick in this round with the potential to lock down map number 1, but it could bleed into map number 2 by just showing a little bit of a mental game, a little bit of a mental check right now. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like anything has come to fruition of that. Nobody spawning on Palpatine's side, so he might have to retreat on back, move their way on around now that it's been about 30 seconds. So unlucky, but that's the gamble you play when you spawn peek.
locked into the corner here at the top of library, and a lot of extension util to make sure that they're going to try to keep that corner for as long as well. Never mind.
Nope.
He was like, you know what? Actually, I hear
You
5
can
sets
have
of
it.
boots, 4 sets of boots out there. We're going to go ahead and give you that one and just hold on for the long angle instead. They still got that mez pressure. The big fun part here, Clutch Drone is in play, Zach. They are taking some of that extension util. Air jab is going to force them off of that wall, but not for long enough to get an actual pick, but it does sort of start to bring in a little bit of that disruption factor.
I really love the Brava win operators like Aruni are on the table, Fenrir are on the table, Capcan is on the table, another fun one right there. You start taking some of their traps that they're not ready for, and they run into a Thorn as well, being another one that you can capitalize off of. Shots rain down. It's going to be the glass off the board. Percy gets that with his DMR. He says, mine's better than yours. Chubby finds Slasher, equalizer kill again. We're going back and forth with the kills. Shots raining through on into bar. Not going to amount to a whole much, but Chubby is on the ground and needs to get picked back up. Finished off by Kinzo.
Okay, 4-3, 70 seconds left onto the board here between seeing overtime on map number 1 or calling this one a GG and moving on to the next one. So a little bit of a reassessment here by the attack team. Take a second. You got plenty of time. Get some drones in. One of those big problems, you see it. All of that aesthetic visual on there. Still got a vigil that you're trying to deal with. A good play getting the FNAT off the board there so you can make that final push in. They need an isolation here for an equalizer, and instead it's going to be hectic to take Fubus off the board. Zek, 38 seconds, and it's now all up to Rin.
Palpatine fighting Shield Walker into the Capital. No flame bolts, no smoke bolts, yep, good night, no life either. That's gonna put map number 1 away. NXG gonna capitalize on Chalet and prep us for the next map, and what a way to close that one on down.
Ooh. Okay, explosive first map. This is exactly what we were wanting out of a grand finals, right? There's only 3 maps to be had in this one. This isn't a best of 5 standard, right? So it's a little bit quicker. You have to come out the gate swinging, right? And both of these teams, kind of how, you've seen in some of those Rocket League first matches, is definitely kind of sussing out the tendencies, finding out how they're going to react to some of those situations. And in the end of this one, NXG comes up tight.
NXG came out very nice. This was their map pick. Do we feel like they had the pressure that they were looking for? Do we feel like they gained that map win that they were looking for? 7-4, not too bad. That first half, a good back and forth. Ending 3-3, I think, on your map choice, understanding that you're going defense in the second half, I feel like played very well into NXG's favor. They looked good on offense, and they were able to close that one on down on their defensive round. So nice to them. What's going to be the case when we get over to Nighthaven Labs, though, which is F5's pick? And it feels like it's newer meta style map that we see all the time, and granted Chalet's been in the scene for a long time, but has really adapted that meta very nicely, like we were talking about the offensive favored meta. But Nighthaven Labs felt like a main staple pick throughout the past year and a half during that 20-30 second meta. I'm wondering how this is going to shift in a kind of 2 different play style idea between these 2 teams.
Yeah, how are they going to fill the gaps? How are they going to stay liquid? Nighthaven is all about the variety that can be brought to the table here. There is some defaults, but teams that bring that variety definitely bring about some W. So we're going to get the lobby set back up here. Zek, we sure appreciate you so much for coming in and taking over run spot for map number 1. And any shout outs you got before we go?
Nah, huge shout out to both of you for allowing me on here all the time. Glisten, also, always a phenomenal time. I'll definitely be casting a lot more with you in the future. No problem. Thank you, though, Run. Thank you, Glitter.
Absolutely. Okay, sit back, relax, folks, because when we come back, we're bringing you another map. Hey, yo. What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We're back, and guest star on the Siege Double Shot. No, Whiskey Run, you're back. You made it.
Hey, appreciate Zach. Thank you very much for filling in for me there on that map 1. Trying to work 2 jobs, coming into map 2 for this one. 7-4 victory for NXG, and I got a chance to watch that thing as it was playing out. And for real, this felt like NXG was just like they won what was that, 5 of the last 6 rounds, really closed out that map in a strong way, right? Great conversion once they got the opening picks. Vertzy goes crazy, 12-7 with the MVP. High impact, high survival rate. He was definitely the guy that helped carry that team forward. But there's a lot of gunners on the team here, so I'm looking to see who is going to pick up that spot coming into map 2, which is, my friend, Nighthaven Labs.
Oh, and I'm excited for this one. Yeah, as you know, right? This is one of my absolute favorite maps, and specifically because the variety that can get brought into this one. And we've been seeing it kind of playing out differently depending on who's getting banned out. If you've got to focus on those hard breaches and breach denial, then yeah, you're going to see more of that vertical play coming in. The Bucks, the Rams, the Fuses, which I know speaks to your heart specifically. But honestly,
Yes.
I can't call it right now. I'm hoping that F5 comes in here and they take map number 2 so we can see that clubhouse, so we can see that third map here.
Yeah, so coming in, this was F5's map pick. So we know that they wanted to play Nighthaven. They're gonna likely come in as the stronger team, but y'all has to get it done in the server on game day for the grand final, my friend. It's Nighthaven Labs.
Okay, folks, Nighthaven Labs. What do we love? What do we hate? Vertical has become a huge name of the game here, including being all the way up onto that second floor, or putting pressure all the way down from the basement. Kind of not really mattering where the site is actually located, right? Love seeing the pulses come out. Love seeing the attention to the intel. And for the first set of bans, yeah, we're going straight to the breach denial.
Yeah, opening up those main breaches, such an important part of the attacking setup here. You have to be able to have the sight lines in. You need IT pressure. You need the connector pressure in order to really put that all the shots on that second floor. So opening that up is a significant portion of the attacking setup, and they want to make that easier. Cade and Bandit certainly making that more difficult, slowing the attack down. NXG's ready for it, though. They do not want the Ying or the Monty to have to try and deal with. So expect them to hold on to that warehouse side, maybe a little bit stronger. And, I mean, the classics up top on Nighthaven. Azami, Mira to hold down that space. For me, the highlight pick, I mean, Tubrau. He's the option there when you don't have the Cade and Bandit to try and slow this down, and bringing along the DMR, my friend. In the age of DMRs, is going to get it done.
Absolutely. The problem with banning out the breach denial when leaning into that strat, yeah, you leave some tough ones on the board. You said it, Mira and Azami, and obviously they're going to be played out here. How do you adapt? What do you do? Well, the fun thing that they're showing, at least initially for this last 8 seconds, obviously Twitch going to be back in the play, as we saw that on both sides, a huge amount. But Run, it's a solid Snake.
Yeah, not surprising to see Twitch and Solid Snake. And you know what? If you have to choose between the DMR and the F2, you cannot make a bad choice in that case. And Twitch has really got that working for her. And then you can just go ahead and run the Solid Snake to be able to bring along the F2 as the alternative. So I love that play. I love that pick. And we got to see a lot of that as a part of some of these late rounds in Challenger Series, where he gives you so much information, not just where the opposing players are, but what direction they are looking, and can absolutely punish teams as a result of it. So the question, they still have to work around the mirror windows, though. Fubus has got to get active here on the Ace to try and clear some of that utility out.
Yeah, and then they did leave the Twitch drones in pocket for now, as they're kind of doing that early prep work of making sure that they can clear some of those folks out, right? Because you got to have a way to stop them from shooting it. It is part of your only defense towards getting those, or your only defense towards getting those things opened up. Now, you of course still do have the 2 Selma charges, and since they brought can openers in spades, some of that stuff on the main breach going to just be handled that way instead. So going to be able to do some of that long distance, and there it is, a little bit of distraction. They open up that mirror window, and now it's just a barricade you can see through a little.
Yeah, I love that play. I mean, it gives you tons of control still to hold on to the connector's side, and all it is a long angle that Fubus is holding on with. He's going to get that opened up just a little bit more as soon as, there it is, the Tubarão opens that thing up. So they know he's playing close on the door, close on the chassis, waiting, covering the electrical side, but now they've got wide open spots and completely pushing this defense back into sight. But look at this. You can just see Verti on the ground looking, waiting. And he's holding on to a C4 as well.
A little bit of C4 action. The flashes start to ring in as they make their final push, and that's
no way,
he
wins that.
Position. No way. F2 finds Verti, and then is going for a second, but answered back. Palpatine able to get the equalizer. A C4 rings out as Hectic takes Rin off the board, and now main advantage does sit into the hands of the defense. They hold it up by 1. Just under 40 seconds left now to go as those smoke canisters start going out. Those smoke waves. This really got in a good position to just keep holding these folks out. They can't quite get into the back end. Now Palpatine's able to take quotes off the board. Does put us into a 4-2 situation. A little bit of a desperate situation now for the attacking team as they need to find an equalizer, and that's not the way to go it.
No, he was stuck in the crossfire from the vertical, and you said it right off the bat here on Nighthaven Labs, as the vertical is what wins rounds here on this map. And yeah, great play there from the defense. I think to me the big thing though was F5 was completely focused on the connector electrical side. Tons of time spent opening up that main breach, dealing with the Tubarão. Yeah, they got the IT breach opened up at least enough to be able to try and push in, but for me it really felt like missed opportunity on the warehouse side. It allowed a zombie to operate completely independently, hold the long angle, and then be part of the cross at the end. It was a little too focused over there on the connector side. NXG read into it, pick up a defensive win upstairs. Now it's the primary site. I'm not surprised. I'm not unhappy. That's a great way to start this map off, and they get to go to basement now. F5 just learning the way this is being played, right? Get some intel, and now it's time to adapt.
Down to the basement. Mira still going to be on the board, so she'll be utilized here, making sure she can't get into that main breach area. The fun pick here, they're going to double up on some intel. There is a couple of C4s, 3 of them on the board, and they can be fed by a couple of different directions, right? We've got the BP of Legion, we've got the Valk cams, and of course, Solus, who has just been kind of a staple to a lot of teams recently here. Now, hatch is open, which means they do have an investment into holding on to this vertical. It's their route back home, if you will, a little plan B if things start to go sideways up here on the first.
Look at this, the attacker intel here just working, giving tons of space, tons of intel, and the vertical in play from the NXG defense, holding on to that first floor, tons of space. And you talked about the Legion all the way upstairs on the second floor, along with Palpatine on the Solus. So they have got a huge roam game going on, completely covering tons of this map. The problem is they are isolated just a little bit. The 2 defenders up top are going to need to work the buddy system here, and F5 is hunting them down. You can see, wait, Shield Walker. I know. Milo said it earlier. Who that was?
Quotes.
Is that quotes?
Yeah, that's quotes.
All right, there he is. What's Buck gonna do?
Well, Legion is going to go down. They're going to be having the trade, though. Hectic's there as the headshot rings out. So numbers get equalized, and so we got to talk health advantage here. Palpatine still up onto the second floor, and now by himself up there is but a bullet. If he goes unsussed, if he goes unchecked, could have that huge late round flank potential in the lurk roll. But I think they've got an idea he's around.
No problem, and as long as he's not dead, even he can take down Mace, so he's got the time, he's got the pressure to be able to hold on. First floor, 3 guys still on the first floor. It is just Slasher downstairs in the basement, locking in, and really, they've made the rotate back down, and now F5 is just wasting time upstairs, hunting when no one is there. Boy, as soon as they make the push down, Slasher was there, ready for it. F5 looking a little bit lost right now, moving slowly, final minute of gameplay, and they've lost the man advantage, now into a 3v4 scenario, and they're still upstairs on the second floor.
Yeah, the ghost pressure is real, right? Now you've got to deal with that next layer of defense, and the defense has already rotated all the way back down, so they still are trying to suss out this pressure, and they do have a little, right? Solus is up there, and look at that. They're trying to make sure that they're not going to get swung here from the hatch, and Palpatine's in a really good place to get that done. Moves up towards the vending into the lounge. He's going to make that big push up here. Is he going to remain unsussed out? They've dropped down the hatch now, in a position to potentially start getting that hatch. The cross is set. There it is. Ren's going to find the slasher off the board. Equalize. Palpatine goes down. They
No
were ready
way.
for it. Scroat's able to find him. Now into a 3-2 scenario. Still has a C4 into the hands of Vertzy. They retook up top. Now equalized onto the number count, which means they're going to be able to put some pressure on that vertical play. As a ping on it is going to find it. The plant goes down, however. Ride's able to take Vertzy off the board. Now run into a 1v2. It's all going to be up to Hectic to try to bring this one back. They've got plenty of intel. He goes up for it. Potentially just going to go for a long arm.
Oh, he's just that good!
Hectic! What? Absolutely destroys him on the peak on the fake plant there. Does take it down to 3/4. I think he's going to try and stick it. No, he gets off. Ren's able to take Hectic off the board. So he found himself a crazy shot, but it was all for naught as they weren't able to get that defuse.
What a great fake there, and so close to winning that thing at the end. What a turn of events, a little roller coaster ride there in round 2, thinking that was all NXG, and then they just completely fell apart as F5 clutched that thing up, got the diffuser down, and then almost had a chance at the end. But in the end, F5 comes up big. I mean, what a crazy round there. We're thinking minute, like 55 seconds left. They're still up on the second floor. NXG looked like they had a great hold, man advantage, and then it just fell apart. The drop down the hatch to put them into the assembly or the tank side plant. Just well played on their part. So F5 learned something out of round 1, adapted, find the win. Now we get to see. Oh wait, is this the first floor site? Yeah, it is. They're not going to play the basement again. They keep the rotation going and play first floor.
I like that, right? I like when you're not repeating the same site. Now, it's kind of up too much. Both have their pros and cons, right? If you see an immediate thing that you can fix going into that, or if there was a fluke play that, or a fluke gap that got spotted that normally is covered or something like that, yeah, I mean, sure, go back to the same site. But I love when teams just keep the routine going, right? Don't let it shock the mental. You take it, you give yourself a second to digest that information, and then you bring it back on the second half. So that's exactly what we're going to see here as they take on to the Tersh site. Bit of an extension here as the castle is in play, and already they're going to start putting some pressure onto the hallway.
I like that strategy to bringing along the Hibana to try and work around all of this extra defensive util there to make sure it's just locked down, opened up, and you don't have to spend a ton of utility trying to open that stuff up. So I think Hibana is a great counter to this. So look at this. They spend a lot of time, again, droning upstairs, expecting the vertical play here from NXG. It's been the way that they've won. From downstairs or above, they can get this done. And once again, man, Rye bringing out that Solid Snake. He's been locked in. I'm wondering whether or not we were going to see, a Solid Snake ban come out at one point here, but still feels like when you weigh it against the Blitz, when you weigh it against the Ace, the Hibana, the hard breaches, it is still such an important play. But look at this. Palpatine with the shot. He shuts down Ren, the hero of the last round.
Absolutely huge. Looking for more. Unfortunately gets a little greedy. Can't handle the F2 as they claim that space back, but huge play there, right? A very sneaky lurk does take the Grim off the board, so some of that intel going to be gone when the Blitz starts to make his push on in, and he's going to go ahead and posture outside the door. Not posture, he's going to push straight on in. Warden's there, and he's got his special glasses on. Hectic's going to help it out. Kiwi finds the kill. Answer back. Vertzy into Fubus again, now into a 2-2 scenario, as they just have this same pattern, right? They find in a gap, they're just trying to exploit it immediately, and in the end, it gets just equalized. 2-2 now.
Yeah, great play to put us into a 2-2. So a little bit of battle happening there close to the diffuser downstairs on the side. And look at this. They're going to go for the vertical, but the floor is not open. He's going to lose his life to Fubus from the vertical downstairs. Well played. Diffuser down now. Vertzy in a 2v1 scenario. NXG, man, very familiar situation they found themselves back on round 2.
Yeah, have to find it from the vertical again. And this is a pressure situation run because it's a 1v2 and time has already crept out so much, right? You've only got 20 seconds left on the board and 7 of those have to be dedicated to actually getting the defuse. Bubus is going to take Vertzy down, and that is going to see, after that one, a timeout requested by NXGs. They're going to take a second to talk about how that first quarter went down.
Interesting here, right? Again, a little bit of game theory, right? You take the timeout before or after the ban phase. So now they get to choose who do they want to try and take away from this F5 attack. And that really, it feels like what that conversation it needs to be about. Maybe a little bit of settling down, but a little bit of a miss upstairs in IT. They didn't have the floor opened up. He had to try and take a couple shots blindly through the floor. If he had hit the planter, if just one of those floorboards had been open for him to be able to be there and take the shot initially, could have stopped the plant from going down. Solid NXG win, except he has to shoot through the floor blindly, doesn't hit the planter, and then exposes himself to Fubus playing outside the window. So F5 just played that a little bit better, but it was off the back of an NXG mistake. So now, say, who do you want to take away from this team? It really feels like it's got to be Ace at this point.
You're leaning into that hard breach because they have been successful in opening all of that stuff up. But in this case, they're actually going to go for the intel instead here running. I like the Grim pick. I think it's great. It opens up a lot of opportunities it closes down a lot of opportunities for that intel stuff. So you're going to have to get a little creative. Maybe we see the SAM cam starting to be brought in.
Ooh, a little bit of extra intel, the SAM cams. Yeah, we don't get to see that very often. I don't know. I get Grim certainly makes life difficult for the defense. It really limits their mobility, but it didn't feel like he was sort of the difference maker on why they weren't winning rounds at this point. So interesting to see how they try and work around this. They bring in the exact same lineup we saw from back on round 1. The Tubrel combined with the Azami Mira has really got this warehouse side on lockdown. And the place that we saw F5 falter back on round 1 was what felt like a very linear push coming from the connectors side and really ignored the whole warehouse side, which enabled NXG to lock that thing down. So let's see if they try and play this thing out a little bit differently. How is F5 going to change out the split? What do they want to try and go this time? They don't have a shield this time. They're bringing along Deimos as the alternative, so tons of intel on where the defenders are playing at.
Yeah, still leaning into that, right? Something that you had seen with the Grim as well, is we're trying to suss out where that vertical play is so you can potentially fire up from below. And we saw a couple of shots towards that. And hey, yo, Kylo, thank you so much for the gifted subs, man. We appreciate the heck out of you. Let's go.
Kylo! Thank you very much for the 5 gifted, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you and the rest of the community being here. It is the Glisten Premier League Grand Finals. This is one we've been waiting for a long time, a league we were interested to be a part of early on. Thanks for being here on a Monday night Grand Final, friends. What a game so far. 1-0 in this best of 3. It's a short final. NXG was 1.5-0.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the sprint towards the end, right? Just a bit longer than those best of ones you usually see in the fall. The best of 3, so not very many opportunities to get it done. F5 does sit up in the scoreline advantage, and they do it on the attacker side, and so there's no there's no like doubts about it. We've seen that a ton on Nighthaven Labs. It's going to be up to NXG to respond here. They do slow down the push onto the mirror window with the Zoto canisters. Already seeing Fubus take a ton of damage as he's now just but a bullet. Imagine as he was trying to go for that Mira. It took a little bit of that vector play.
Man, look at this. We're down to 1:18. All 10 players left alive. I think this is the first time we've seen it in the first 4 rounds. Usually we've had a couple early opening engagements. It feels like F5 is playing this one a little bit closer to the chest, slowing this gameplay down, and NXG feels like they are fine with that. Let this team play a little bit slower, work around it, hold on to the power positions on the second floor, and force this team to come to them. And Keen's is going to take advantage of it and pick off the first one. That's Rin and the hard breach going down. They
do get that first kill. It does take the thermite off the board, so potentially goes down with a few gadgets in hand. They've got to back up. Still one Selma charge left here. Now the question is, are we opening a wall or are we opening a mirror with that? Still do have the Twitch, although both drones have been out. So if they're off the board, potential is still there. Run on the defense. We've got two sitting with C4s in hand. They're going to make a quick swing up, and Fenrir Gadget doesn't go off in time. Kinzo gets taken down, and the answer back happens, and it's just a trade city again. Now into a 3-2 with 11 seconds. Equalized. It's going to be Fubas to find it on to Palpatine. Now into a 1-1. Holy cow! Fubas with a double to save it.
That is the greatest moment in my life, bro.
What a save at the end there. Wild play, and F5 has just absolutely come alive. 3 in a row for this team, including after the timeout. The timeout buff ineffective for NXG. Honestly, it almost feels like they should have just picked who they wanted to ban and then talked about the timeout after to work around this team, because F5 right now feels like they are just on fire. This is their map pick, though. We expect them to come out a little bit stronger on this map, especially being down a map. Chip on the shoulder time, my friend. They're ready to win.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, what's the big question here for NXG? Right? Spy says in the chat very well, they have control in every round, and then it's a crumble. I mean, F5 is doing a great job at spotting the gap, right? They're finding whatever it is, the isolation, the space taken up. Let's go. 10 gifted subs. Cabalito. Yeah, well, huge play. Thank you so much. Kills and control are different. Well, I guess that is absolutely true. Either way, we appreciate the gifted subs. Thank you so much. And if you got one, show some love in the chat. Say thank you so much and enjoy those custom emotes and being part of the Siege double shot, fam. You got a shield back on the board as Blitz is making an appearance now. So looking to take some of that space just a little bit quicker, or at least with a little bit more ease towards that potential execute coming through. Already trying to remove some of that extension util as they get set up onto the single wall to open it on up.
Man, 30 seconds, and that last round just, I was amazed at how long all 10 left alive, and it feels like we're sort of moving into this same. I initially was thinking that the slower gameplay favored NXG, but the collapse from F5 just really worked in their favor. So can they pull it off one more time in the basement? It's a basement site downstairs. The vertical play this time, though, man, Blitz wins the battle versus the Warden upstairs, and that is a huge play. And holy cow, F5 is dominating now with 4 with a down. Kiwi may even be recoverable at this point to put them into a 5v2. Hectic and Slasher, man, they need to come alive right now, my friend.
Man, I loved that split push play there, right? They had an idea of who was sitting up top. They knew that the investment in the extension was there, and they just push in, take space, and win the gunfights. And when the dust settles, it's a 5v2 with 1:30 left on the board. So much time, and now they've made their way into the single wall. And a huge play here is Hectic's able to find Kiwi off the board, and they remove that initial pressure that had made itself down into Animus there. So now looking towards that vertical place, he's backed up towards that breach area. It's going to be a tough drop here. You're going to have to definitely deal with him first.
Oh, what a play. No, but Fubas wins that again, man. He is 9-2. He is right place, right time, all the time. I thought maybe, you know, him on the ace was going to be the difference maker here and that NXG needed to ban him, but it didn't matter. Right now he's been able to pull off the win with the Ram as well. But, man, quotes on the shield walker, as it were, wins the battle downstairs. Just, man, great play. Honestly, that could have gone either way very quickly, though. But right now, F5 firing on all cylinders on their map pick. They're looking to tie this grand final up.
That was tough. That was tough. You have the play on the shield, and yeah, you still got a mountain to climb here, but you got to win the initial gunfight when their back is turned. Unfortunate turn of events if you're an NXG fan. So it does. It sees F5 onto that 4-1 score line, and now the last round of the half before they get to go. What probably arguably is going to be their better portion of the half, right? They get to go onto their defensive side after this. So this next round, this one for sure is necessary. You got to win it if you're NXG, or you find yourself down 5-1 on a map pick and potentially having to go to Clubhouse.
And the Clubhouse isn't a bad place to go. The problem is it's where good teams go to die. And honestly, between a pair of teams that honestly had some great results in Challenger Series, we saw the teams talking about it in chat. Both teams had some great results in Challenger Series. When you get to go to Clubhouse, I'm honestly not sure which one of these two teams takes it. It could just be that, you know, who's going to pick it up on the day, any given Sunday, as it were. So look at this. A couple of magnets outside is interesting. Hoping to catch the ace off guard.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So that's so toxic. Palpatine, that's so toxic, and I love it. See if they get spotted out before they
stratton, brother.
Could you imagine how mad you would be wasting a Selma charge with that? Oh, impact trick does see one go down. Slasher's able to take a ride down as well. So man advantage does go into the hands of the defense.
So huge.
Two. Palpatine with a shotgun in hand, also gonna deliver some vengeance. Now into a 5-3 scenario, defense in a great position to hold on for this next 2 minutes. You just can't do what they've kind of been doing on Nighthaven, right? This is that crutch part. They've got the man advantage. Time not necessarily on their side at the moment, but it gets closer to it as we speak. They can't throw the body count.
I gotta say, man, this just feels like this has been the best opportunity we've seen from NXG since back on like the middle of round 2, right? They have been playing from behind, both in a round, in the middle of the round, in the way that the rounds are developing. They just really have been unable to find success. This right here, this is their opportunity, but Kiwi was ready for it. Man, just absolutely baits the defender into it. So another magnet catches the flash. W play here, man. Palpatine and those magnets, right place, right time. As he sits 6-4-2, tied with Hect to hold on to the top spot on this NXG team. The problem is they got to convert those into a round win.
Oh, unprepared for Hectic and a little body shot to go along with it. Man, finds the first, now starts to make the push in. Vertsy's able to take Kiwi down. All going to be up to Quotes now to bring this one back. He still has a Rotero in hand, but not going to do him much good in this 1v3 situation.
48 seconds left. He could try and pull something off here crazy, but the Shield Walker not on the shield this time, and he's got to deal with Palpatine holding on, taking a shot, and he wins one, trying to pre-fire at both of those windows, but the shotgun in hand from Hectic going to close this round out. There it is. Boss G, baby.
The Boss G, baby. Okay, 4-2 half. And it is, of course, F5's map pick, so we expected them to feel comfortable on the attack. We talk about it all the time. Well-coordinated, well-practiced teams do well on Nighthaven attack. Now, here's the big other part of it. You're getting onto your defensive side of it, and NXG, of course, has put the work in for Nighthaven on their attacker side. Bans coming out. First one, going to be a little spicy. Glasgow's.
Yeah, Glass was just so good. He's really been an important part of a lot of the comp strats. And you know what? If you feel good, just hanging back, taking some long shots. Nighthaven is one of those maps that really enables that. The long shots from the pillar, the connector side that sees all the way into the warehouse. If you can get those sight lines opened up. What's the alternative here? Yeah, getting rid of the Cade and Bandit to make sure you can have those long shots open. So a little bit of a counter strat going on here on the NXG side, but that was such a huge round there of the 6th round. Finally, we get to see them turn it around, win a couple of big shots, take down Fubus early on in that round, and then converted it into a round win. That is what they needed, and it felt like they were just moving very slowly, unable to find any success. That was the turnaround they needed to avoid the 5-1 half. So NXG is still in it. It may be F5's map pick, but time to lock in on the attack, my friends.
Okay, so when you get rid of the breach denial, you leave the key operators on the board. And I support getting the Cade and the Bandit off, right? That is, of course, the right move, I think, for up here onto the top floor, but does leave the Mira. And we have seen this be devastating, not just in the standard way, but this breach can be tough to deal with. Now, they did bring along a little bit of that split theory pressure themselves, as they've got both of the breach operators on board, both Ace and Thermite, ready to go. So a little bit of coordination here. We'll see everything opened up pretty quickly.
30 seconds gone. The droning working. I know you and Zach talked a lot about the trip connectors and the Denari. I love the trip connectors. I think there's such a great opportunity there to try and slow this defense down, really, or slow the attackers down. It really wastes a ton of utility and time to try and clear that stuff out. Either you're forced to bring the Twitch or you need to use utility just to burn those gadgets. And the problem is, they're not done for good unless you're using explosives, which you certainly have limited numbers and availability of those in play. So, taking shots upstairs. Look at this. Chubby Seal. Who is that? That's Rye, right? Rye holding on to the upstairs, trying to make his way, but Slasher in the Monty is ready to take that fight, and he's the distraction that Vertsy needed.
Yeah, beautiful play with the Monty there, as they were just able to, force some attention to be somewhere else. And he is going to take no damage there as he makes that push up, as they do find the knife play, but can't, or the melee onto the shield, but can't quite get it done. There is an air jab. It's close. It's going to stop those attackers from being in a safe position, specifically talking about this Monty as he starts to make his way up. The second part of the of the Mira does go down. They're able to shoot it, and now they've got some good control up here onto the catwalk.
This was the play that we didn't see from F5 on the attack, was to gain that control over on the warehouse side of it. So they're making it a little bit difficult for the attackers or the defenders to try and hold on to some of that space. But man, look at this. Slasher is completely backed off the engagement. Give a little bit of room there for Hector to try and open up that wall, hold on, take a shot, and wins versus Quotes. Boy, that is what they needed. Still have got the BP here, giving tons of intel onto the guys holding onto the IT wall, but with 47 seconds left and the kill starting to ring out, NXG comes out on top. Never mind. Triple kill from Fubus. Evens it up with 30 to go.
That's right. Now flashes have made their way in. They've got the intel that he's down behind the desk. He's hoping for some power, some friendship. Both Slasher and Vertsy able to take them off the boards. They work in a little bit of that tandem move. They claim space and they claim lives, and they're going to claim a scoreline advantage as F5 takes the lead.
Okay, so that is 2 in a row for NXG. They win their final defensive round and their opening attack on the primary site. Although we have seen some teams sort of fall out of favor with that second floor site. The problem is the first floors on Nighthaven just have a lot of vertical opportunity. They're very difficult to hold. Good play from down below on that basement floor, so you can have some great pinch moves happening. So here is the real test. In the basement, can NXG find a win? We're expecting an F5 defensive victory here. NXG needs to turn the tables and find a win in the basement, really to convince me that they got this thing in the bag.
That's going to be the big play here. They've continued that dominance forward, and they're going to get a little intel on the board as 12-4 Fubus gets themselves onto the Solus. The fun part here, shotgun in hand of the Thorn, right? It'd be there to make some of those rotates, but a little bit more in-your-face action as you start to run from those gadgets now that they have that quicker deployment. I like the setup of the defense. I see that they're got a bit of an extension up top as well. Didn't quite see if that hatch was open up, so not sure how invested we are going to be sitting up here onto the first floor, but already looking for some time waste and a little bit of quick action towards the windows. Everybody upstairs outside of Ren does hold on to that lone anchor spot, so a pretty heavy investment on the vertical, even as far as all the way up onto the second floor. A similar situation to what we saw out of NXG, right? Solus up onto the top floor, directing traffic with that gadget. Just see the drone, knows that they've got going to have a little bit of pressure, and instead they're going to take it all the way from the other side here to try to start forcing this pressure back. Solus potential little bit of danger, but not
Oh,
ready.
what a play!
Oh, sheesh. Fubo's
Oh.
adding towards the kill count. Vertsy gets taken down, and now they're going to be walking each other back down with the power of friendship. Even still holding on just a tad.
13-4, man, he is taking Vertsy's spot as the frag leader here on this map, and what a way to pull it off. Great reaction time there, tossing the impact, and then playing off the contact. Man, that really puts this defense in a power position. F5, we said they needed to find the win here on the basement site, and what a great way to start it off with that opening pick. You take down the blitz as well. So now, still got plenty of vertical play here from NXG. They've got the ram in play, and the real highlight pick for me, Hectic and the Dokubi still left alive. One of the calls in pocket, just waiting for the right time to come out, identify where the defenders are at now. They've all made their way down. Oh, no, never mind. I didn't look over far enough to see Rooney still upstairs on that second floor.
Yeah, I love that just wasn't going to be displaced from there. Waited for what was a potential, or to get actually just baited out, unfortunately. 14-4 now. The Solus is, or I mean, not the Solus. Yeah, the Solus still sits. So they're just doing a great job of holding on to it and just completely using any of the objects around to find themselves kills, right? The bait with the ace was beautiful, and all the way in until it claimed that, Rooney's head.
Great shot there from Palpatine to take down Quotes, and now puts us into a 3v3 with 20 seconds left. They're looking for the call, but what a shot upstairs. Palpatine with the triple, and that is the diffuser going down. Give him a quad. Is he going to go for the ace? Can he catch it? No!
Palpatine gets taken down, but Slasher's there to answer back. Man, breaking out the barbecue sauce for that 4-piece. That was the sort of momentum changer that you absolutely needed if you were NXG. And that's going to see the series tied up, or excuse me, the score line tied up. And it also is going to see F5's first timeout here.
Man, I'm telling you what, look at that score line, right? Total domination from F5 to start this first half off. I mean, we were talking about the doom and gloom of NXG at the end of that round 5, but what a turnaround from this team. They lose the round after their timeout, but regroup, recenter, and then find a way to win 3 in a row, 1 on defense, 2 on attack on the primary and secondary sites, my friend. That was wild. And a little bit of a solid gameplay from Palpatine. You said it, a 4K coming out, catapulting him in to the top of the server on his side at 10-6-4. The problem is, F5, right, take a timeout, settle down. They were dangerous in the first half on their map pick. Let's see what they can do on the first floor.
Okay, down to the terse site. The spot of contention. Solus back on the board. A little bit of slowdown, maybe anticipating some of that shield play. Legion, of course, going to be brought back out. A very similar lineup to what we saw NXG running when we saw this terse site play, right? Stopping some drones, giving a little bit of intel, and then a focus on the spearhead, making sure that they don't allow any space for that plant to happen in and off the pillar. So step 1 here for NXG is going to be taking some of that vertical presence. Step 2 is going to be definitely killing Fubas.
I mean, yeah, shut the man down. 15-5-1. This is uncharacteristic. You're looking at Rin 47 holding on to 1 and 6. Uncharacteristic. If Rin can get active, this could absolutely turn the tides here for the F5 team. But you know what? You got to carry that momentum forward. When you're relying on one guy to put in all the work, those individual heroics to carry the team forward, if he starts to falter, you lose the game. And that's a tough spot here for F5 to be in because they are down 1-0 in this best-of-3 grand final. Welcome in, everyone. 5v5 to start this thing off, brother.
I was just about to say, you're right, too. Best of 3. We're already on a match point scenario. This is go big or go home, my friend. So you got to get active, especially since it's on your map pick. Now, up onto the defense. Going to see that first one ring out.
Oh, the Jinxie C4. Hit it!
He's putting himself in a good position to drop 20 bomb, but you said it. It's the Jinxie C4 could have potentially had something there, though, but with the window closed, a little bit tougher. Instead, he's going to put it up and just open up a little bit of the flooring as nobody's there to receive any of that C4 damage.
Man, I thought he would take a little bit of a break, hold back. It felt like a premature shot there from Rin. Loses the C4 as a result of it, but still got the SMG-11 in hand to go hunting upstairs on this first floor. Another C4 goes out. No damage done here on their side as well. NXG dodging a pair of C4s. Huge play here for this team. And now they have got complete vertical control over on the IT side. That thing is fully opened up, and Slasher on the Monty is there to try and shut it down. Kiwi, the last line of defense upstairs. The Legion, they got to hunt him down and spend not too much time trying to pull it off. 1:20 left to clear him out to gain that vertical pressure before they even need to make that transition down to the first floor to go for the plant.
You said it. Now they've started making that push in. Monty looking to claim some of that space up there in the warehouse and force that engagement. And he's taking a look downstairs. Can't quite find anybody, but there it is. P90 going to take Kinzo off the board, and that is going to give a man advantage in a huge way now over to F5 as they look to take that scoreline advantage again.
What a great play there from F5. They take the timeout and they go up 5v3 here with 45 seconds left. NXG moving slow, uncharacteristic from this team. And wow, how about this? That first floor site is going to be the bane. Kiwi finds that shot onto Palpatine, shuts down the hero from the previous round. 5v1. How about a 5v none?
Yeah, and they're going to do it flawlessly, right? Just a beautiful hold here onto the first floor. Never gave up that vertical, even though they gave up tiny bits of space. It just wasn't enough to fully claim themselves an opportunity to get in and play a little bit of protect the president. So control sitting into the defense hands, and they're looking with their eyes towards map number 3.
Yeah, that was a big one. A huge mental victory then to pick up the win off the back of that timeout. And now they get to go into this round and take away, okay, the Monty. You know, the mirror is a great call here from the NXG side. A little bit of trouble that they had to try and deal with, mirror tricking those windows, but they found success on both the second floor and the basement sites, the stronghold. A little bit of a role swap here with the defense winning on the tertiary site. So still puts NXG, I feel like, in a very good position. And even though F5 can play either the primary or the secondary, those are the two that they've lost. So it is adaptation time. You know what? And good call. That they're running the Azami, keeping that running upstairs, and then Fubus gonna run the two brows. Same as we saw from the NXG side, and a pair of shotguns from Rin and Quotes.
Not much here to put towards that walk up from the main breach, that hallway there. They do have a couple of barbed wires in place, so some sound cues, some slowdown, make it a little bit tougher. But that was how we saw a zombie die last time, right? As they put a beautiful pinch between the shield and the player sitting off the catwalk on the door to take a zombie off the board. So something to slow them down, at least on that part of the push. Could be a little bit better. They are operating shieldless this time. Monty gets taken out, and they don't find themselves bringing the Blitz or the Blackbeard along to try to, or I guess the Fuse Shield, to try to run that same strat. So it's a new look here that Attack's bringing to the board against F5.
And Hector just doing a little dance upstairs outside on the observatory, looking into the hallway, playing that Solid Snake, running the F2, trying to find an opportunity. He's going to bust out that gadget for just a second. None of the defenders in range, though. And, okay, there it is, going to ping a 1. Yeah, good call. And giving away that intel to the teammates, so they got plenty of opportunity. Knows he's safe to try and push in the top here. All clear. One of the other great parts about that gadget. Loving the way that we're seeing Solid Snake get integrated in the attacking lineups.
Yeah, he is a little bit worried about that lurk roll, as it did play a part, I think, in the last time that we saw up here on the second floor. Everybody up on the second floor, though, for the defense, is they're kind of leaning in a little bit more to that anchor side of things, still holding on to the catwalk. Palpatine's able to take Fubus down. That was step 1. Right, take off the frag leader who has almost double most people's kills currently. They take him down. Smoke canister is going to ring out and push him back off to the breach for just a little bit here. A couple of keeper barriers in places. They're really just trying to hit that anchor hard, right? Create a couple of more layers. Grenade's going to force some movement. Kinzo's able to take down one. Just an answer back. Kinzo good for two. Palpatine on to Quotes as well, and then Slash will find the last. So you said flawless. Well, they said, you know what? Hold my G Fuel. I can flawless.
What a play there on the pillar side. The attackers get that Walton connector open, and even though Smoke pushes up, the fact that they had the low can opener opened up that spot. So even though he tries to go prone to hide behind, I don't think he realized that in the chaos of the smoke that hole was open, it loses his life really quickly. That really set up this NXG attack for the flawless round and tied this thing up, my friend. 5-5.
Defenders protect
What a
your bombs
game
from
between
being
these
defused
two.
by attackers.
And this is a must-win scenario for F5. They're now one round away from either sending it to match point for themselves or sending it to series game grand final point for NXG.
Ooh-wee. Okay, yep, F5 with eyes on Clubhouse. NXG trying to end this one in 2. Palpatine on a bit of a run here, sitting at that 12-7, trying to play catch-up to Fubus on the other side of it. Putting a hell of a run into it. It's back down to the basement here, run. And they got a bit of extension up here, and it's going to be a little late in the prep phase here to kind of solidify this top floor. They get the main one done. At least now you're not going to be wall-banged as you're setting up. But they've got some intel to boot, a couple of C4s. They're looking for a very layered defense here.
You know, one of the things that we talked about, or one of the things that I had in my notes coming into this was Palpatine was this guy who quietly had a massive game on that first map. He was right there, and he had the potential to break out, and he has absolutely held up to that potential. 12-7 and 4, top frag on this team. You said it. He's the one that needed to get active, and the one that took down Fubus early on. And just as we say his name, he finds another as well. Just absolutely on fire right now. Fubus is answering back, though, 18-6 and 1. When he goes down, this F5 team loses. He's the guy that they've got to protect right now.
Making their way down that main stair. Instead, has a little bit of pressure. Is going to instead, oh man, the feet almost potentially taking Ash down, and it's going to do it. What didn't you move, Ash? What are we doing? Still just thinking that there was the risk from the stairs as Fubus has already made his way back over to the IT side of things, and Palpatine will be recoverable. Slasher's going to take down the kill leader as Solus goes down, but
no.
There it is. Kiwi finishes that kill off. That's going to leave us in an equalized position here. 3-3 on both sides of it. The part, if you're an NXG fan, Fubus is dead. The part, if you're an F5 fan, you got only 1 minute and 30 to hold on. And now, a couple of smoke babes, a C4 in hand, you got plenty of time to stall.
Yeah, and stall is going to be the name of the game at this point. And Rinstow has got a pair of those smokes left in pocket, so they can definitely slow this attacking team down. But do not throw your life away. Hang back, hold tight, and hold on. You got 1 minute left here, and the castle barricades are making this entry down in the basement a little bit more difficult. We got the hatch opened up, so this is F5 forcing NXG into the route that they were expecting, into the route that they wanted. They want to see that hatch drop because it plays into the smoke side of it as they continue to just burn more time, my friend.
And they do just that. Smoke canister goes out. One left to potentially try to stop this last 42 seconds, holding on to it as long as possible to make sure it has its greatest effect.
C4.
But you want to be alive when it goes down. There is still a C4 in hand. Quotes is looking to potentially put themselves on a match piece with a one piece. Vertzi goes down. He was able to take him off the board. Traded back. He was able to find a double. Now puts it all onto Hectic's shoulders. It's a 1v3. We're still at the C4. Is going to find the first. Looking towards the second. No idea where they're at. It's 11 seconds. He's just going to have to push in.
You gotta be kidding me!
Almost gets the other one, but a shotgun is going to end Hectic's life. Sheesh.
I can't even believe he got a second shot off at that point. Hectic was on fire and just Chal in the room swings and picks up nearly 3. F5 though comes out on top, sends this thing to match point scenario. Man, what a way to hold on to map 2, your map pick, to keep this grand final hopes alive. NXG now on the back foot. They need to find a win here on round 12 to send this to overtime.
Ooh, Clubhouse starts to loom in the distance here in the grand finals. A best of 3 only, so a sprint towards the end. F5, they're going to take it onto the Tersh now. So they try to hold on to this one, and it's a very similar lineup. A dedication to upstairs will be there as Zombies on point and on board. It's all on NXG's shoulders. Feels like a tough position to find yourself in. 1-8 is tough, but you know, they've been supportive and they're up in the scoreline,
10
Palpatine.
seconds left before insertion. 5 seconds left before
Oh
insertion.
man, on the edge of my seat. Boy, if you're an F5 fan, and now is your time to just absolutely lock in. NXG though, I mean, we've watched them shut this team down. They came alive with that huge triple round in a row in the middle of this thing, but have unable to close out rounds in the same way in the latter half of this map. Do they have the staying power to keep this thing alive and send it to OT? Or will F5 win this one and send it to Clubhouse? It's a grand final, my friend. This feels like we're going to map 3.
It does, right? It feels like it's almost written in the stars, unless NXG pulls a little something out here on this last round. It feels like it's been going F5's way for sure. They get rid of some intel, but that's a Twitch drone down and gone. Only able to capitalize onto one of those cams currently. Roteros are going to get in and cause a little chaos, get rid of some of those Kiba barriers, maybe some of those barbed wires that kind of slow everything down. He takes a quick look, so he gets some intel as well as getting rid of some of that extension util. And they do intel galore. They're pinging out the Legion and the smoke current. Yeah.
Indeed, my friend. That's exactly it. So, all right. The win con here, absolutely Fubus. He's 18, 7, and 1. Absolutely going crazy. They need to take him down and early to be able to carry this thing into OT. If Fubus can stay alive and pick up kills, they are not going to be able to survive this. Palpatine on the other side of it, though. 15, 8, and 5. What a hell of a game he's having.
Does put the man advantage into NXG. Just under 1:20 left here for this attack team to suss out where these last few defenders are. The problem is they still got to deal with some of this vertical. Fubus, who has been on an absolute tear, still stands on the top here, making sure that you can't claim any of that vertical. Get yourself a plant to start to go in. Flashes ring out. It's going to force it down the Aqua Stair, but still unafraid is going to hold on to that doorway, making sure that you can't just get in. Time run is going to start cooking down now. Smoke canister goes out. There's only 2 left in hand. It's going to be time for them to start getting in to make their move.
Here's the thing. You still have got Fubus upstairs on the 2nd floor in the lurk position. He picks up 1. Now into a 2v3. No way he picks up the top of the warehouse as well. What is going on? NXG lock in. Hectic and Slasher, the last 2 left alive, and that's the plant going down.
Unfortunately, they didn't get rid of this vertical, so it's going to feel like a Bob's Your Uncle situation. Slash goes down as the shotgun rings out. Fubus hits the 20 bomb, and now it's all up to Hectic to bring this back. Grismox are going to give away his location. They know where he's at. They're going for the wall bang. Legion Goo to ring out, and that's going to do it. 21 kills for Fubus as F5 claws their way back into this grand finals, and it's going to take us all the way to map number 3 for this one.
F5 and honestly, Fubus individually, what a game. 21-7. Are you kidding me, my friend? What an absolute locked in. This is the response that F5 needed going into Nighthaven on their map pick. Struggled to get it done on Chalet. Struggled to close it out after NXG really dominated the second half of Chalet. This was the map they needed, and a heroic performance from Fubus there to close it out. I mean, he completely took over the server.
21 kills? Sheesh. Yeah, absolutely carried. Just wanted it. Was hungry for it. Did not want to go out in a 2-0, and just about single-handedly brought that F5 into this map 3. Now we head on to Clubhouse, my friend. We call this the Great Equalizer. So it is a fair and fitting map for a grand final, last map, do or die time. When we come back, we're going to see that play out here on the Siege Double Shot. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. It needed all three to get this one done in the Glisten Premier Grand Finals. It's Clubhouse Run. I'm pumped for this one.
Yeah, this is a map. There's no gimmicks, no tricks, nothing like that you get in some of the new maps where those new strats are coming out. I mean, Clubhouse is so well defined. All the great angles already defined. The setups, the play, the style. Man, it is anybody's game on Clubhouse.
Okay, let's get into it. What do we love about Clubhouse? It is a textbook map, my friend, right? Completely default. Everybody has got the strat. And if you've ever played on Clubhouse, you know exactly what strat is coming your way. So comes down to the bans for this one sometimes. I could see that similar strat that we saw on Nighthaven, where they go very breach denial heavy, or it could get into a little bit of the cheesier ops here to get off the board.
Now, as we get into it, I just want to say one more time, big thanks to Glisten Premier League for having us out, for having us be a part of it, to Caster Zek Vexel, Caster 4, Patch for doing all the Liquipedia. We appreciate you guys being here, being a part of the league. GPL's inaugural season. Glad we got to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. The last map, one more map. Let's get into it. Gonna stake us down at Church and Arsenal to start us off, and they've got a bit of an interesting lineup here, right? They've got the castle, so extension definitely is going to be in the works, in place. Clash is on the board, so showing that a little earlier this time than we did on the previous. And then, of course, back to those trip connectors. They're going to try to cause a little bit of that disruption.
All right, here it is, man. You said it downstairs. The trip connectors and the Clash. That one's been interesting. I was surprised to see Clash banned on both Nighthaven and on Chalet. To really feel like she had really been one of those key ops across the board. But that feels like a part of just the knowledge that these two teams have against each other. There is clearly some, a little bit of cross-pollination in terms of who's playing on each of these teams, knowledge within the community, in the T2, T3, T4 players, everybody trying to find their shot. Look at this, how many trip connectors they got stacked. I love it.
I think that's 7. I think that's insta-death if you get through that. That could be huge when going for that drop. Gonna have to look for something like an Impact EMP or Thatcher to get through that thing, because it's a simple drone is not going to get the job done for that one. So that's an interesting use of the trip connectors. I'm kind of here for it, Run.
I love it. You know what? Hey, I said it in the setup that there's no gimmicks. All the angles are established, but you know what? There it is, right? Denari bringing it out, a trip connector setup we haven't really seen. Now, the question is whether or not it's going to make the difference here. But I love the fact that we get to see a little bit of that opportunity. And big shout out to the unnamed gamer, observing for us one more time, showing off that little bit of tech we had downstairs in the basement. As we get into that final 2 minutes of gameplay, man, just clearing utility here upstairs. But they need to make the transition down. All of the defenders in the basement bunkered already.
Okay, so they've taken up some good space, and oh man, tough. That's tough. Palpatine gets caught slipping underneath an open hatch, and oh, okay, grenade off to the side could be enough to get those things, to get those trip connectors off the board. So might have been a little bit easier dealt with, although it doesn't look like they cleared that thing up just yet.
No, still in play. There it is. Hey, you know what? Here it is. Is Fuba's going to have to try and go for it? I want to see him just get shredded by the trip connectors. He tries to make his way down Moto. He doesn't have enough utility to toss through there and clear out the lasers. Going to be able to catch 1, 2, maybe 3. But going to have to focus down these main stairs. And right now, Clash had that space covered. Except for she just slightly turned her back, and Slasher loses a little bit of his life as a result.
Hectic's going to find that kill onto Kiwi, and that's going to be the equalizer now as they do find themselves into a 4-4 situation. Lots of intel coming from Clash right now as they're holding on to that main hallway here. A slow peek up, looking for it. Shotguns
Beaker's
there.
advantage.
Finds him. Vertzi, life forfeit. Now it's going to be the util drop as they're trying to suss out any play towards blue. They do get a little action towards that Moto, are able to get themselves inside. Fuba's able to take Hectic off the board.
What a nade!
Go now into a 1v3. Ginzo going to be the last alive as F5. They're doing a great job of just clearing everything out. Does find a little bit of damage, but the plant goes down, Run. Now it's a 1v3 post-plant situation, and you've got no intel.
All right, we heard the trip connectors go off, and Deimos was left alive, so it's a good chance he dropped down through those. You know what? I don't think he did. Like you said it, he probably would have died. So it made his way down one of the other opportunities, and F5 on attack on what has really been an attacker-sided siege all night tonight. It just feels like right now F5 on a little bit of a roll. So here's the question on the Great Equalizer. We absolutely expect this to be a 4-2 defensive split, so NXG needs to lock in. That was the basement, the stronghold, Church Arsenal on Clubhouse. Fully expected to be that defensive win. Even with the Clash in play, couldn't get it done. So now upstairs to the second floor, gym bedroom. You know what? I know you're going to say it. Vertzi on the castle.
Oh yeah, we love it, right? And that's the standard here. Usually it feels like the castle when being brought out is to kind of help you with holding on to the breach a little bit longer, right? It's protecting the bandit as he tries to do a potential little bit of tricking, but it has kind of become the norm as just making sure that you've got to bring some extra utility or maybe an operator that you didn't necessarily have in the lineup to deal with those castle barricades because it is so default. You've got to have multiple ways to do this. This map goes crazy for the split push here.
Yeah, 100%. Not only do you have to, it really works when you can get that execute in play and run it. So the thing I like, I mean, it quotes, he's using the name Shield Walker onto the Blackbeard here. Not surprising in the least, and fully expect NXG to continue getting rid of some of these shields as a part of their defensive ban strat. So they've taken away Monty on multiple maps at this point, and Quotes feels good, just swapping onto one of the others. And honestly, if you got a name like Shield Walker, you might as well be ready for it.
Yeah, kind of relegated yourself to that one, right? They do open up here towards this cash side. They're looking for a potential push up red and slowly just making their way back towards site. The power of friendship, having some security, and they do so relatively uncontested here, which means defense is for the most part going to get themselves back towards that site. All but Hectic does remain down below with the C4 in hand.
Yeah, honestly, NXG feels like they have backed off this engagement maybe a little bit too much. They have allowed all of the sight lines to be opened up. You're going to see clear sight lines through the gym, through the bedroom. They've got the main breach open here. They've got the solid opening over on the cash side. Construction really undefended. They're giving this F5 esports attack tons of room to work around. Fubus is able to take down one, but he loses his life. That Fubus Palpatine battle happens again.
Yep, sharing a singular brain cells. They seem to find them, suss each other out for the conflict every single time, and they definitely went back and forth in the frag potential there. Now, Blackbeard is going to send out a grenade. That's going to move them off of the smoke as they start to make their way up. Kinzo finds one as numbers get equalized. As Keeb is able to take one. Rin finds it. Slasher answers back down to a 2v1. It's all going to be up to the Blackbeard, who finds it now into a 1v1 battle as he makes his way. Oh, shove, and he finds it in the corner. Quotes is going to take Slasher down.
Wow. shield bash to the face in a 1v1 scenario, and honestly that melee could have gone either way, but you know the defender holding onto the shotgun is ready for the swing. The problem is I'm sure you hear that clunk 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 of Blackbeard as he comes around the corner. F5 just a little bit locked in right now. They take down the primary and secondary on Clubhouse on attack. This is uncharacteristic again for this team, and off the back of an incredible Fubus game. If you missed map 2, man, 21-7, dominated the server. Palpatine tried to keep up with him at this point, but was really unable. Vertzy was the hero, the MVP of map 1 on Chalet for this NXG team. Kill list so far through the first 2 rounds. Time for him and the Jaeger to get active as they're going to try the tertiary site and play out Cash CC.
Okay, Tercite, we didn't see any bar stage, you know, no surprises there, although in today's siege day and age, it's not improbable.
Oh,
like, we
yo.
definitely... What in the world?
It's
okay.
through the tire! Man, I love this game.
No tricks, no gimmicks, except for the tricks and the gimmicks.
Yo. Okay. NXG, Palpatine, I'm loving the strat, brother. Let's go. All right. You know what? Never mind. Clubhouse is back. I want to see it. I want to see the innovation that happens. Actually, it's one of the reasons why we absolutely love casting the T2, T3, T4 arena, is that is where the innovation happens on Siege. Getting to see what everybody comes up with.
And look at this, too. Solid Snake does bring out the new DMR, the PMR. Trying to get active with that new, and we haven't seen it a ton, but in this case, we're going to see it twice. Kiwi's rocking it as well.
Yeah, you can bring along so many of the DMRs this time on the attack, and yeah, bringing along, well, I mean, at least 3 of them here, and Fubus is going to take down Palpatine. No way! Sharing the brain cells again? Oh, yeah. The battle between these two, but the problem is Palpatine now has lost that battle twice in a row. That is a huge, unfortunate loss for this team, but we said Vertzy need to get active. There it is. He gets his 1.
Now the incandelas start going in, and that's going to start causing some disruption, although it doesn't seem to find many folks here inside of the cash side of things. So relatively safe and uncontested at the moment. Minute 40 means there's still a ton of time left here for this attack team to work. One pick, and they can start to find themselves flooding in towards site, gaining a little bit of that gaining a little bit of that real estate advantage and getting a plant ready.
Yeah, they've got a lot of these sight lines in play, but look at this. The Azami here trying to block off all the sight lines. She needs to stay alive, holding on to that garage side. They made Swiss cheese out of this main breach, but not going to be easy to try and walk through that wall. So Fubus on the senses open up some of this space. The incandelas come out, but oh, look at this. Through the can opener hole, the Swiss cheese works in their favor, and F5 is on a roll right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Fubus gonna find another one. Does that take him to 6-1? Is he doing it again?
Yeah. Just taking his G fuel and absolutely locking in. He may have struggled there on that first map, but on the second and thirds, he has become absolutely the win con at this point. Carrying this team to 3-0 to start it off. And I know we said it on map 2. We saw NXG take the timeout after that first quarter was over, but they did it before the ban phase. I was wondering whether or not we'd see them take the timeout again here after the ban phase is in. They're going to get rid of 2 of the hard breach with both the Ace and the Hibana gone now, forcing this attacking team into something a little bit more direct. But the problem was they honestly were playing the can opener strat very well. They seem absolutely locked in to be able to use those. And if both Ying and Grim are bringing along can openers, they're still going to have plenty of hard breach available just to open up all the sight lines they
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Woo-wee. Okay. 3-0 start for F5. Explosive on the attacker side of things. Finds themselves back down in the Church and Arsenal. No timeout this time to sit and talk about it. NXG feels confident that they know what to do going forward. They do bring along that extension as well, or again, as Castle is back on board. Really, honestly, Run, feels like we're just leaning into the same strat that they used on last. So they must have found something that they feel confident
10
about
seconds left
to run
before
it back
insertion.
that they're going to have it this time.
5 seconds left.
I'm still a little bit shocked that we see the Clash come out here, right? Like, yes, she was interesting playing downstairs. You know, sort of caused a little bit of chaos, but did it really feel like that was a significant play? Is such an important part of what this defense was trying to do in the basement? Honestly, it feels like the Denari and the trip connectors causes more trouble for this team, or the Castle, especially when you don't have the Habana available. So I am definitely questioning the choice of the ban on the NXG side, right? It just does not feel like Clash was, or on the F5 side, really didn't feel like Clash was the important part. But I mean, they are up 3-0 at this point, so you know what? Who am I to question?
You know what? They've got a plan. They've got the comms, and Clash can be absolutely devastating. We see it be impactful before. Maybe it didn't want to deal with that towards the late round. Either way, is off the board. Castle's going to get targeted by Deimos. The C4's out. Does he get one? Does he get lucky? Nope. Unfortunately, his fishing technique was a bit off, and he can't quite find it. Looking to open some stuff up here so they can put some pressure on to the rotate back on around. Maybe try to get one more of those C4s to potentially get baited out. Currently, we sit all tied up with 1:40 left.
Man, we talked about the can openers being an important part of this attack here for the F5 side, and that's exactly what they're doing, just opening up this time over on that dirt side. And I thought we might see one of the NXG defenders try and make that push up, but look at this. Taking down Fuba, sitting at 6-2-2. Became the win con here, and he's the first guy to go down. That's the huge boost here for NXG. Maybe not the best opportunity they've seen so far, but with 1:12, 5 stacked apiece, plus one of the trip connectors upstairs. The guy putting the trip connectors down upstairs, the Denari upstairs. They are in a great position here to win this round.
Yeah, finally answering back. Slasher's able to take one, and Slasher good for the double there to clean it up. And finally, NXG gets themselves on the board. They took a second. Win said, okay, back down to the basement. Here was the gap they spotted last time. Seal that up. Try to stay liquid and fluid on the bottom. They did exactly that. They come away with their first on the defense.
Yeah, Ymir said it, right? If you can get Vertzy and Hectic to show up, and specifically Vertzy was that guy, we talked about him, MVP on map 1, time to get active, and there it is, finally stop the bleeding, shut down what was an incredible first quarter there for the F5 team. They win 3 in a row, so they got to see the full opportunity of what this attacking team was bringing to the table, and now time to adapt around it. The great play there was they picked off 2 of the players from the attack as they dropped the hatch. So the NXG defense was just right place, right time to be able to catch a pair of the attackers as they dropped the hatches. That really felt like a significant portion of what helped this defense pick up a round win. So they win the basement. Now time to go upstairs to the gym bedroom side. And you know what? One of the highlight picks here I love seeing, and I'm not gonna say Hectic on the visual. I'm gonna say Slasher on the Frost. Let's go, Frost.
Yep, big fan of the trap play, and yeah, trying to just really set the pace here kind of has been the problem for NXG, right? F5 has dominated the pace battle here on Clubhouse throughout these first couple of maps. Now, we do have a Ying on tech, so as far as getting in and getting in your face and continuing that pace in F5's category, definitely has quite a few operators to do just that. I love all of the util that is potentially going to be dropped in place here when they finally start to go for that protect the president strat.
Okay, you're talking about this you know, who's got the edge coming into this one. Hectic taking down Rin early. Man, we said it. Clubhouse really rewards coordination here from NXG, from any of the defense at that point. That was really one of their strengths from that first map. So if they can try and keep this thing together, and they must win defensive rounds. But They cannot allow this this F5 team to just dictate the pace, and that's what's happening. Palpatine's still left alive, but that's the diffuser going down.
Yeah, they get the diffuser down, and now it's going to be a 3-3 brawl for it all, and you've got a shield inside ready to do battle with anybody that's going to come close and starting to get towards that diffuse. Onto the rotate. He is going to see him, and that's going to be the down, the kill, as he takes Kinzo down and trying to answer back. Slasher going to take some damage, and Slasher goes down now as Kiwi's able to find the kill. It's a 1v3 all up to Palpatine. History has said the Foobus finds it, but Quote seems to be the one close to get onto that battle. Okay, well... Did he hop it? I didn't even see him.
Yeah,
the Foobus Palpatine battle rages on, bro.
This is the battle of all time, and the way that this thing is shaking out. But honestly, that was a crazy play there, and a little bit of bad luck, it feels like, from the NXG side. He goes to take the fight with the shield on the stairs and hits the environmental ingredient, spraying fire in his face, and completely cuts off his entry. He can't make it back up the stairs without taking any damage. He's trying to fight his shield from the lower position. He doesn't have the high ground, and F5 absolutely punishes him for it, especially with the bailiff jumping over the railing. So you know what? Feels like Palpatine should have known better, to be honest.
They've been through that situation before, bro. Okay, well, there it is. Last round of the half, the first half of the last map here. And honestly, if NXG walks away with a win here, claim themselves onto that 4-2 scoreline, it won't necessarily feel indicative to how this has been playing out, right? It feels very dominant in F5's favor at the moment. Of course, we'll see them on their attacking side of things as well. But this is an important round, not just because it's the last round of the half, it's your last on the defense, but it's that morale boost as well. Going into the other side with a 5-1 feels bad. It can be mentally shocking, especially when you're at the end of the grand finals.
Man, what a peak there we were seeing from Palpatine, just locked on to see whether or not he can catch one of these defenders off guard. I love that slightly aggressive stance here from the defense. Slow the attackers down. That's exactly what they needed. You know, you obviously need to win the defensive round. Such an important part of the way that this thing plays out. Put some defensive pressure outside early. Slow these guys down. That really felt like one of the things that we needed to see from this team, right? Because structure wins maps, this really became a momentum versus structure kind of a battle. And we saw that from the previous round. F5 just went straight into sight, carried some crazy amount of momentum to win on that gym bedroom site. And if you allow them to carry that momentum forward, they're going to punish this NXG team. A couple of trades upstairs, but look at this. The plant is going down one more time.
That's right, and C4 is going to ring out, and if it isn't, unfortunately,
missed!
find one. Rin does go down, but they get the plant off. So now back into a 2v3 situation as Rin has been down. Palpatine goes down, walked into a trap. Unfortunately, does feel that, and now Verti onto Foobus is into a 1v2. This is still a winnable situation for sure. The Grim Bees are going to slow down the process of picking up, sees a little bit of somebody hanging onto that window, and now he knows he's there. It's a quick swing, but there's just not going to be enough. Kiwi's able to take him down with the glass play on the rappel.
Five one half. This is exactly what we talked about at the end of the first half on Nighthaven. Was F5 absolutely controlled the middle of that map. They had won 4 in a row, looking for their 5th, and NXG came up strong to close out that half. They did not have the same success this time. They did manage to find a win on the basement round once, but when you were talking about 5 attacking wins on Clubhouse, that is setting a pace that NXG right now feels like they are unprepared for. In the battle of structure versus momentum that I mentioned during that first half, F5 is winning that battle in a big way, carrying momentum forward, not just through this map, but from the second map into the third. And NXG needs to adapt in a way that we have not seen so far from this team. It's easy to start off winning. But they need to do the much harder role this time, which is turn the game around now. Down 1-5 in the grand final, map 3.
Okay, yeah, almost in a best 4 situation that you have to be perfect for situation. These first couple of rounds going to be incredibly impactful for NXG. They got to find a way to do it, and they got to do it on the attack side of things. Low numbers as far as the KD goes on the side of NXG. Bringing along some similars. We'll have to talk about them as soon as that last 30-second clears out. But I want to just draw an attention here. We're doing double area denial down here in Church Arsenal. We've got the Goyo and we've got Rin on the smoke holding up, which means we can have a little bit more investment into that vertical play. They did bring the castle along. They're going to be able to at least have a few more bodies up because you got to get through quite a few layers downstairs to be able to even get in and start making that play.
That's one of the things that I love from this team, and we do. So we can sort of get to see this, like the stacked area denial on Consulate and a little bit on Border. Maybe not so much on Clubhouse, but downstairs in the basement. I love that combination of play here. Throw in the Denari for some of the crazy trip connectors. We'll see what Kiwi tries to cook up. But I love this Rin Fubus combo, and he still remains, maybe not the win con at this point, because Quotes and Rai have absolutely come alive, answering back and sort of keeping up with that pace. The problem is, look at that. Quotes goes for that spawn peek outside and nearly loses his life. It feels like he honestly got a lucky dodging that bullet.
All right. Time to get active. We talked about Palpatine as being that power player on the last map, trying to keep in line with Fubus. You see that first one go down. Slasher gets taken off the board, but yeah, time to use that aggressive feelings. Let the hate flow through you, Palpatine. You're gonna try to bring this one back. Try to get it close to equalizing up. Tough one that you got Hibana off the board already. The Hatch Queen is gone, but they still have can openers in play. The only problem is you got to put yourself a little bit closer. No C4s, but definitely some potential to shoot up through the floor.
Great vertical play was part of the win con that we talked about on Nighthaven, and it can certainly play that here as well. Hectic's running that ram, and they need to be watching out. The good news is F5 almost feels like they I don't want to say made a mistake, but the fact that they have no C4s on the board certainly gives this NXG attack room to move around. Literally, they can spend some time almost anywhere on those upper floors. And Keenzo looking for picking up the kill with that big hand cannon. The Vendetta takes down one. He's sitting at 5-5 still with a pair of nades in hand. 52 seconds left though, tied up 4v4.
Holding on to the vert here, looking for one. Oh, almost sees him. A little bit of peekaboo there as he's not really in a position that he can contest it from that angle. They did go for the open rotate in the middle of the barricades here. Hectic is able to find Rin off the board. That gives the man advantage over to NXG. Starting to collapse onto site now as they're opening everything up, but they're still going to have to contest with some of these Goyos. Flashes start to ring out, fires go, and that's going to be, oh no! TK pushes in. Now they've got space. A potential for plant. 4v2 now, 4v1. Hectic's onto the double. All up to Fubus here. 7-3 has been the hero. Just has to find the stop onto the planter. Can't quite do it. Palpatine finds him. Well, you got to know their potential still has the vertical in play. Not sure everybody made their way down just yet. Hatch was open. You don't want to get caught jaywalking underneath the hatch.
You know what? Honestly, great point, but man, what a wild play. We have seen so far in this game 6 attacking wins on Clubhouse out of 7 rounds. What is going on tonight? Man, the attackers are just absolutely locked in, and in what had been a defensive structured game for so long, to see that many attacking wins on a map that for sure had a defensive slant, I'm a little bit surprised and honestly happy with the strats that the attacking team is bringing out. It feels like they're finding ways to win and work around the defense no matter what they're bringing, because we're seeing some varied setups on both sides of the lineup here. Combination of double area denial. Gonna see the Denari one more time, but yeah, throwing a little bit of Ella to shake things up.
Like it. Just the right amount of potential disruption, right? Leaning into that can't hit what you can't see sort of strat, and potentially anticipating maybe a little bit of shield play. Do claim there first on this side of the half. So a little bit potential for some momentum being started up. Again, they're going to layer pretty hard with the defense. Double area denial, Kiba barriers to get through, trip connectors that are potential death underneath the window. Not a lot to deal with it on the NXG side of things. Going to rely a little bit more on potentially just getting the gunfights, right? Winning the gunfight. You have a little bit of intel in the hands of Grim. They still worried about that potential flank. Really, it's just going to be getting in, taking space, and shooting in the face. Taking a quick look down oil. They're claimed some vertical down below, knowing that they're not going to get trumped up on here, walked up on. It's happened several times here by this F5 defense where the Solus has been that factor. Not on the board this time. There it is. Vertical to be had. Deimos is going to find that first one. Man advantage is going to go into the hands now of NXG as they start to make their push up towards...
Oh,
man.
What a great
Jaywalk
Kiba.
Across the door. Hello.
No, that Kiba was perfect. It enabled him to walk across, a little bit of distraction and protection across the door. That worked out perfectly. F5, I mean, honestly, a little bit of luck there in the timing. I don't know whether or not they had that level of coordination to start out with, but man, what a way to keep the team alive. 2-5, and right now NXG needs to come alive, as it were. Palpatine takes down Fubus in the battle of the freaking century. Those two guys lock barrels again.
Boy, they were just lined up with each other. Kinzo's able to take Kiwi off the board, and now feels like a very dominant round here for NXG as they are just effectively just taking an incredible amount of space, finding those isolations, and look at that, starts to make the way in. Grenade goes out, Kinzo's able to find the third for the round, and all going to be up to Quotes now to try to bring this one back, and it's going to be a no-chance scenario. Slasher finds the headshot.
Hey, we're playing Siege, we're playing Clubhouse. I mean, you expect the defense to win every round, right? Freaking wrong, man. 7 of 8 rounds attacker side as NXG finds success on both the primary and the secondary. Where do you go? Do you run it back? Or you play the basement? You try playing the tertiary? Do you go bar stage and just throw it all away since it's opposite day and we're seeing the attackers win? Hell, who knows? Maybe bar stage is now the legendary site on this map.
You know what? Nothing warms my heart more than to hear you say that, my friend.
That is the greatest.
We're turning him, chat. We're turning him. No, not really. Okay. Yeah, he's losing his mind a little bit. He was like, "What is going on? Up is down, black is white." Attack is doing a phenomenal job on both sides of the board for this one. You know, and it's just these are really well coordinated attacking teams. The way that they're able to isolate key individuals, getting drones in place, knowing that the potential lurk is still coming around. I mean, these guys are just firing on all cylinders.
Yo, Zach, thank you very much for the prime, my friend. Appreciate you jumping in, helping the SDS stream out, taking care of GPL as we move through the grand finals, covering map 1, which was solid NXG win, 7-4 victory on Chalet, answered back by F5, 7-5, and you know what, felt like a tremendous amount of momentum here for this F5 team has been stymied a bit as NXG found 2 attacking wins on the primary secondary. So we're seeing F5 move back downstairs to the basement, and they're all I was going to say 3 of the 5 locked into those basement sites, the other 2 upstairs. And right now, the cash CC hold from Fubus, 7-5-1, he has dropped out of that top spot. And it feels like F5's hope for winning this along with that. So the other guys really need to step up this pace, or we're going to need to see more of some of those individual heroics.
Still opening everything up. Couple of C4s in hand and a couple of impacts on the other side of it. We talked about the big lurk plays that Solus had brought to the table for F5 previously. Still going to sit inside of that role, playing up into the stock room. A little bit of intel could give a C4 some a good position to get things equalized up here onto the number count. As far as NXG goes, they're just going to kind of continue to check the boxes. They've got the hatches opened up. They've got a little bit of the walls. They're getting drones in place. Now we're looking for that 3-2-1 call. Potentially one more kill is going to start that thing, and the flashes start ringing out. Locked a little bit onto the onto the rotate. They're going to find one. Palpatine takes down. Kenzo finds Ren off the board. Now into a 5v2 situation. A retake of up top is not going to be nearly enough as Hectic's able to take him down.
Give it to Palpatine!
Now.
Hey, the 2 defenders are stuck upstairs on the first floor, and you know what? The attackers downstairs getting the diffuser down. They're going to use the intel there from the Dokubi, just hunt down that final defender, and no way, my friend. 8 attacking wins here on Clubhouse. You see it, 1 defensive win solo, and that was NXG that picked that up. And what was a runaway train for the first half, 5-1, thinking that F5 was just gonna dominate Clubhouse, has turned around in a way that I don't think we quite expected, especially because this F5 team came in with a ton of momentum, and they were upsetting the structured play that NXG was bringing to the table. The thing is, you know what? Any given Monday, as it were, here on the Siege Double Shot, NXG found 3 in a row, 2 primaries, 1 secondary, and right now looking unstoppable.
Rest of the bands come through. Who do we take off the board? Who's been the essential thorn in our side for both sides of this?
Deimos.
Deimos, that's the one.
Feels like NXG was really riding the Deimos train, and they sort of made it a little bit more difficult by taking away the Cade and the Mira. And holy cow, man, I've missed it like every time. These guys are just throwing me for a loop. Was Grim really the guy that was dominating these maps? I mean, again, maybe it makes it a little bit difficult for the attack for the defenders to get some motion, but didn't. I guess you tell me. You think he made that big of an issue here for this team?
The thing is he's just good on this map in general, right? Doesn't matter where you're going, doesn't matter what you're doing. But when you're talking specifically about hatch drops, about sussing out where those lurker players are, which, of course, F5 does like to do. You saw it mentioned in the chat that they have a bunch of lurkers out and about, and not really having a ton of like, it's not really paying such dividends on the defense, but when you do, that intel's huge, right? And when you're getting into those last-minute executes, you're seeing the Capitao drop at smoke and fires, you're seeing those Yin Candelas come out, and the top, that third piece is giving the intel and finding out exactly where they are. Are they sitting in those critical push points for this hatch drop? Can we take a pre-fired swing here? Is there a way to get across, but potentially before we go to that execute? The Grim Band, I don't know. I'm all for it. Feels like a good pick.
Okay. 15 seconds gone. They've got the upstairs lockdown here. A combination of the Azami and, you know what, Kiwi running that Jaeger just locked in, and then it's going to be Quotes instead, not on the shield. Clash not available this time, so he's going to run that area denial, the smoke up in that spot. It's interesting. We don't typically see the smoke playing on that upstairs garage side. They've doubled down in making sure that this NXG attack can't gain some space. The combination of, look at all that barbed wire and the Kiba berries, they're going to need to expend a ton of explosive utility to make that Monty useful on the garage push.
Yeah, but it's coming from multiple angles here, right? Palpatine has now made his way into the lounge swamp area. which means he can put some fire up. They can start to get some flashes up there and get rid of the ADSs that are going to keep that smoke safe. Two of them, looks like maybe three, all three potentially sitting up there to make sure that you can't get anything up there. So they've got to at least expend the smokes and a couple of throwables to get themselves in a position to get that smoke off. But if they can't dislodge him, he's going to hold that Monty down there for an extended period of time.
Yeah, they've done a great job of just stymieing this attack and holding it off. I mean, Monty has been completely unable to try and gain any space. A little bit of intel at this point, but I don't know that they realize that Fubus is downstairs. He's going to wait for that Monty to push up. Oh, they know. He's ready, waiting for it. The C4 comes out. Not going to do any damage, though. Or I guess it'll do a little bit of damage, but it's not going to stop him from making that push up. But it has completely slowed this team down. That was just well played on this F5's part. They are doing a fantastic job of holding on to the tertiary site on defense.
Now into a 4-4 situation. 50 seconds left. All of the smoke babes have been taken off the board. Still have a couple Zoto canisters to do some slowing down. Palpatine, again, on the Fubus, is going to find that kill. Now locked into the corner, a dangerous situation as the Monty can start to get active. Ren's going to take Vertzi off the board. Now into a 3-3 as they're still dealing with this extension util. Fried as Kiwi's able to take Palpatine down. Now it's all going to be up to Slasher. Pushing in with a shield, going for a bit of a pre-fire. He's only got 26 seconds, and he's got to face both Cash and Red. He does have the diffuser in hand, but there's a ton of intel on him. No C4 to send it long. Looking for a little bit of action, a little bit of misdirection as he's trying to make somebody miss. Needs a gap to spot. Makes the push in towards Cash. Can't get it done. Kiwi's going to take Slasher off the board.
Damn, a tertiary site win on defense. What a world we're living in. The problem is, my friend, is that after a 5-1 half puts F5 Esports finally into the driver's seat in a match point scenario. And it's not just match point, series point, and grand final Glisten Premier League inaugural season point, my friend. One round away.
A perfect for two scenario for NXG. So they want to take a second. They want to talk about it. You know, you got to come up with some artsy wins here to keep this one going. What's being said? We're losing our ones. We're giving up sight to too easy. We're losing the space. It's the big question. But coming out of this one, prime, prepped, and focused is going to be the big play for NXG. And it does have potentially that timeout buff in place. 1 to win it, 2 to tie it. Who's going to bring this one on?
Right now, we said it early on in this map, in a game of structure versus momentum, NXG versus F5, the momentum seems to be winning. And we said it, you can find a win from NXG early on in the first map, and then F5 has carried that momentum forward. And really the only thing they've struggled on is just defense in general on this map. But you know what? In a 5-1 situation, all they had to be was just slightly better on the defense, on a defensive-sided map to carry that thing to a victory. So, we thought maybe it needed to be Fubus to be the guy that was getting it done on the F5 side to carry this team into a win. Everyone, though, has stepped up. You look at the kills across the board, you know what, there's still a couple of negative guys on that team, but significantly more even than we saw on that previous map. There's no way Fubus is picking up 21 kills when the rest of this team is contributing at that level. And the thing is, on the NXG side, they're pulling off that same kind of play. Great. Teamwork overall, everybody stepping up, but just not winning those rounds, closing them out when they need to. So on what has been an absolutely attacker-sided map, we need to see NXG lock in for 2 to send it to overtime.
I love the placement of these thorn traps, right? Reworked so they go quickly now, that they deploy quickly and they react quickly. He's got 2 of them on the potential default on the hatch drop and 1 in potentially towards that rotate coming down from the main stair. It at the very least is going to be a sound cue that something went down. At the most, could be completely lethal.
I love to play with the Azami downstairs. I mean, when you get rid of the clash, you leave the Azami up for playing in the corner downstairs on the Arsenal side, and she's got this thing locked in. So they've opened up all the, using the Hibana here. They've got the hatches open, got a couple sight lines, putting in the standard structure work here for a basement attack. And combination of the Ram too. Look at this. They've got it all open, and what feels like, again, not as big of a miss as we saw from this team previously, but there's only a single C4. It is just Ubus, and he's playing all the way over on the garage storage side. He's not even available to try and put pressure on the kitchen side attack, so completely leaving the NXG guys open to just turning that floor into complete Swiss cheese.
They do just that. Now, potential that that C4 is going to be some late round play, and he's up on the garage storage. They're about to put some pressure on it. They got some intel, right? They've got a drone that he's over there, and they're waiting for that potential swing. Droned out again, now in some danger. Makes it down to the bottom of the stairs, and he's going to be safe, but the hatch has been opened up. Could be caught slipping as he jaywalks underneath. He just gets free. He just gets out, and he's able to get back down into sight. Huge play.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that he's seen the Matrix. More that NXG, again, just didn't push the advantage, didn't ride that momentum wave and try and clean up one of these defenders. And they've got them all locked down in the power positions in the basement. You can see all the orange outlines. They are standing, waiting, watching. NXG is going to have to make a move here and go crazy. How many more Toxic Babes? They still have just one in play, but it is 5v5. How about 5v4 for the final 33?
That's right. Hectic's able to find one. Vertzy able to answer again. Now it gets down to that 5v2 scenario. Palpatine gets answered back, but it's in the shadow of Ray falling down as well. They find the down, and all of a sudden we're equalized on the number counts. F5 trying to lock this one away. NXG needing to stay alive for 2 more rounds to take this to OT. It's going to be a potential post-plant scenario. They find the zombie's going to take him off the board. Hold to Slasher now to keep it alive. Into a 1v1. 40 seconds onto the goal. Slasher's good for it.
Oh man, 1v1 in the basement of Clubhouse to decide who wins the GPL, and NXG on top. Locked in, my friend. 5-6, now 1 round away from tying it up and sending it to overtime on map 3. Damn, what a play in the end. The plant goes down, puts the defense in a little bit of a bind, and they go swinging, and NXG wins the battle. But honestly, that could have gone either way. It was a 50-50 gun battle. NXG on top, though.
Okay. Had to be perfect
Attackers
for 2.
need to locate and defuse
That's a
bombs.
good first step. They find it, and it was a little spicy. It was close. 1v1 in a post-plant scenario is a, I wouldn't say it's a favorable position to find yourself in at all, right? That is a scary situation to be in, especially when the potential of losing and being done with the entire tournament is on the line. 1 more to tie us up, 1 more for overtime, and 1 more potentially to close it for F5.
10 seconds to insertion.
Go back to the gym bedroom site. They do bring out the bandits, so potential to, well, I was going to say maybe do some tricking, but they're going to have the investment on the site overplay. Want to make sure that you can't have ease of getting into that cache site to put the pressure on to the players playing close to that construction, playing close to that master bedroom site. Hold on to it for as long as possible, and they got a couple operators to really slow you down. F5 going for some pace setters here. Will it pay off? 2 minutes and 40 seconds to find out.
Here's the crazy stat, my friend. On Clubhouse, we have not seen a gym bedroom defensive win yet. Not this entire game. The only time we saw the defense win was once on the basement, once on the tertiary cache CC side. We have not seen a defensive win on this round at all. It is absolutely wild. Look at this unnamed. Yeah, taking a look and seeing where was that spawn peek happening, where was that outside kill, because you know what, honestly, you go and play for the defensive like a little bit of aggression we talked about early on. That's what they needed here to put some pressure on this NXG team and to take down Palpatine. He is in the conversation for the regular season MVP. He's in the conversation for a grand finals MVP. But the thing is, you're gonna have to win to be able to clutch up those MVP runs.
Take some shots back from Garage. Fubus is able to take Vertzi down into a 5v3 as bad goes to worse here for NXG. They do find the answer back. Kinzo's able to take down Quotes. A little bit closer to tying this up. Equalize now as Hectic's able to find one. Have to be perfect here in this last minute and 19 seconds. They get inside. Malusi, the Banshee gadget has been taken down, but it does give a little bit of insight that somebody's over there, that they've made the push in. A C4 is there, sends it, but it's going to get shot out of the air. Aim Labs pays off as now they've taken that side of the map. Fubus able to take Kinzo down. Looking for more, but it's going to be taken off the board. Hectic onto the triple kill. It's going to be Kiwi left to try to close this one up or see some overtime. Shots into the bathroom. Not able to quite find it yet. Flashes now as they make the approach, and Hectic is going to get the barbecue sauce for that 4-piece, baby.
Vertzi says no shot, when in fact it was 4 shots for Hectic to claim that one and send NXG to 6 and our final map 3 of the grand final to overtime. It has come down to not a best of 3, not a best of 1, a best of 2 rounds at this point as we've come down to the final. 13, 14, 15, my friend. Man, all right, if you got all your points on the line, if you got some ego on the line, who do you got coming out on top here in the GPL Grand Final?
Ooh, man, too close to call it. Too close to call it. It seems like it potentially might favor NXG in this because they do have the attacking side to start out their overtime. So a potential 2 shots to find the most winning combo or strat that's been utilized so far. For the defense, they're going to take it back to the Tersh. They're going to kind of bring in a similar situation that we saw the last time, and I think almost exactly the same. They're making sure that they can just set the pace early, really try to keep some of these things closed off for as long as possible, not let those cut routes get set up, potentially find those early entry kills.
Now, this was the only round that we saw the F5 defense win, was the tertiary side, so that's exactly what they're going back to, hoping they can carry a little bit of that magic forward. The problem is that it was in the chat too. There was some attacker mistakes that time that sort of enabled the defensive win, so it doesn't necessarily feel like this was a significant play here from the defense, but it was more mistakes made by NXG that F5 capitalized on. So if they can make fewer mistakes here on the tertiary, likely to see one of these a little bit more of an attacker-sided map. So comes down to it, NXG's getting themselves set up in a combination of really, you know, a great combination of ops in the Deimos to play the vertical, the Monty, the hard breach, and then Hectic on that F2 and the new op Solid Snake.
Yeah, we've been saying his name. 13-7 Hectic currently sits as he's kind of taken over that lead frag role here for NXG, at least in Clubhouse. Lots of util to get through. Palpatine's able to take Ren off the board, and that's a huge first pick. Does get answered back as the aforementioned Hectic is going to find his life forfeit. They took down the frag leader, and it was Fubus, the one that was going to do it. Does get his equalized run. This next kill is going to be huge. Palpatine does find it. Is going to take down Rye as well. Now they have that man advantage. They've got plenty of time. Now it's all about finding, getting that control off of the catwalk. They get a little bit of damage. As Fubus starts to make his way over from Palpatine to take Fubus. The battle rages on as they continue. Tries to find himself a little bit of flank action. Can't do it. Smoke's going to push that Monty up, and he's going to get downed in the process. Now into a 2-2 yet again run, as all of a sudden we get equalized on the number count. One outside. Palpatine's going to take Kiwi off the board. Does take us into a 2v1 scenario, as it's all going to be up to Quotes to try to keep this one alive or see NXG find their first win in overtime. A little bit of intel as the sound cue goes down. What a shot! Quote's able to take Palpatine off the board as his head gets ripped.
What a
Sees
flick!
the potential towards red. Was on cam. Didn't quite get there. Has to get diffuser. No smoke canisters in hand run. 30 seconds in which to get this done. This is going to be an all-out brawl. Doesn't have Selma, so he's going to have to go through the window. Does exactly that. Gets onto the default. A little bit of a bait here. Ooh, almost finds his life forfeit as they start to jiggle peek in the quick peek off. Takes it to half. Has to stick this plan. Shotgun comes up. And, oh man, Quotes takes him.
There it is, the defensive win on the tertiary site. Cash CC, the place where it happens. NXG 6, F5 7, round 14 in overtime. Can NXG pull this off? Where did they see their defensive win? Yes, the basement. So is that where we're going to see them play? Pick it off in the basement? Can they pull it off? It was a 1-1. I mean, they lost it back on round 1, but that's a long time ago. We've seen a ton of Siege at this point to make it that far, and that's where they're going to send it. Basement with the Denari, Two-Brow, Azami, Warden, and Castle to close it out. Palpatine could have been the hero, on pace for the ace, and he lets the final F5 players survive. And that guy manages to close out the round. Quotes there, 14, 8, and 6. This game really, this whole grand final so far has been about the momentum. When a player gets hot, it has been difficult to shut them down, and some big numbers being put up across the board tonight.
6-7 to F5. They did what was seemingly impossible. They won a defensive round on Clubhouse here in the GPL Grand Finals. Feels like that definitely favors them, not just because they're in the score line, not just because it's match point, because now they get to do it on the attacker side of things. Extension in play. They are back down to the basement, so obviously you nailed that one. They've got some pace setters here, and I think that might be the name of the game for NXG. They've got to find a way to slow F5 down. Oh no, dang it. Close. All right, well, whatever. 5-5 as they sit. Kiwi's going to give themselves a little bit of damage. Does get some intel onto the player up top as they're looking to try to capitalize here. Pre-fire through the wall as he knows that there's going to be some pressure on. You can hear the drone. Looking for him. Still kind of a slowdown situation as everybody's playing a little bit more conservatively.
Oh, first minute of gameplay done. Now we're at the point of deciding who's going to carry this thing kill count wise. I want to know who is it going to be that wins the battle. You know what? Getting down into it. I honestly have loved the setups that we've seen from Denari throughout this entire map. It has made Clubhouse fun to watch at this point, seeing some of the innovation that I absolutely was not expecting. And we talked about not having coming into this map. And these players have absolutely delivered here in the GPL Grand Final. It's come down to it a minute. Half this round is gone. And right now, are NXG's hopes also fully gone? Or is it just one round away? Is it a pause or is it a win, my friend? F5 is on match point scenario here in the grand final.
Minute and 12 left as the attacking team starts to make their way in. Kinzo is able to take down Quotes. The headshot rings out, now into a 4-4 scenario. Just under a minute left here as the attackers start to make their way down into sight. Defense going to be caught on a little bit of the back foot as their damage is done. Kinzo gets taken down. Man advantage now into the hands of the attacking team. A little bit of damage onto the Sens as well as the trip connectors go off. Sens gadget goes out. There goes the grenades down, and that's going to be the plant starting to go.
Oh, Fubus
right off
again!
The rotate. Fubus is able to find one. Now into a 4-2 scenario post-plant. It's all up to Vertzi to try to bring this one back. He does get one. Looking for a second here. It looks like it's GG's in the all chat as Vertsy gets killed.
Bro, GG's in the all chat indeed. So yes, apparently that was the real quotes, and you get a timeout, my friend. Nobody likes a leaker when it comes down to the exciting end to the game. Wanted to see F5 just crush it, or NXG come back in a big way, my friend. 12, I mean, look at the number of players. You had 6 players in double digits across the board here. That was a hell of a run here for this team. Locked in. And the fact that you know, with just one overtime round, I guess 2 overtime rounds, we didn't get to see the full 15, but to have 6 players in double digits really shows that that when the players were getting hot, they carried it all the way through the end. You know what, NXG, you guys put up a great season, made it into the playoffs with the upper bracket advantage coming in, but not quite able to close it out in the inaugural Glisten Premier League Grand Final. Man, we're happy to be able to bring this to y'all.
Yep, absolutely. Well done to F5. You won a T4 league. Good job. We got a lot of casting and stuff coming up. We've got some Rocket League stuff that's going on. Utah Major is approaching closely. We hope to be able to see all of you there. We've been doing a little bit of fun streaming outside of just the casting thing. Mondays has become a very fun repo Siege and Rocket League scenario. I did happen to, big news, I joined the OMG's streaming group as well. So starting on Thursday, I believe, you'll be able to find both the Siege Double Shot channel and the OMG's channel, as I'll be playing some ranked sessions with them. We'll be having some fun strats and casting some of those things. So yeah, tune in everywhere. We've got a lot of stuff coming your way. If you like us, if you love us, if you hate us, make sure you add us. You know where we're at. You know what we do. Come get involved in it, my friends. But alas, for us, it's time to bid you adieu. So as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
Ayo.
Let's go.